Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4playernetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. Hey everyone, welcome to 4Player Podcast, episode 691. It is August 12th, 2021, and my name is Nick Henderson. Joining me tonight is Brad Simons.
Hello.
Nolan Hedstrom.
I am here.
Christopher Guthridge.
Hello!
And Christopher Davis.
Good evening.
And we are here and ready and willing to talk about video games. We did not have a show last week. Instead, I know I was out of town. I know Nolan and Brad.
We got in a little bit of trouble, unfortunately.
Playing. What, you got into trouble playing Grounded, or is that?
No,
is
we
that
got grounded. God damn it, Nick!
Oh fuck! I ruined your joke. I ruined your bad dad joke. I ruined your especially bad.
I was hoping
dad
his joke. Pretty sure it was my joke because I tweeted it when we went live.
Oh.
Pretty sure it was Obsidian's joke when they named the game Grounded.
Oh,
where you play a bunch of kids in the backyard.
Yeah.
That makes sense. We'll talk about that a little bit tonight, but you know, we have a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. I know, Brad, I feel like we like to start with the newest jam, and I feel like the Great Ace Attorney.
Oh, are we getting right into it? It's funny you say that because, you know,
well, do you want to
probably
shoot
the oldest
first?
game we're going to talk about here.
Kind of true.
Oh, I guess.
Did you know that the Great Ace Attorney collection is a collection of Ace Attorney games that never came to the West? I think they came out in about 2016, and then the second one came out in 2017. This collection includes both of them.
Well, I'm going to be totally honest. I did not know that because I've never been a big Ace Attorney guy, and I just thought this was the new.
Who here has played an Ace Attorney game? Maybe Nolan? Okay.
Yeah, of course. I've played several Ace Attorney games.
Well, there you go. Good. We have a frame of reference for the conversation, which is important because I have not played. Oh, yeah, he understood that reference.
I got it too, believe it or not.
So we're just talking about this. I didn't know we were like getting right into this, man. This is
we can shoot the shit a little bit. I mean, I guess
I don't know. I saw this.
I don't know.
It's too late. We're already talking about it.
Yeah, I know it's too late.
Take that.
Is there footage too?
Wait, we could have been
playing
talking
right now
about the Suicide Squad.
Oh shit. No. So I have not played it. I played and finished the first Ace Attorney, and I played like a couple of cases of the second one. Other than that, I have not played an Ace Attorney game. Not because.
Really? I don't mean to interrupt, but Chris Davis, I don't see any of our cameras.
I'm fixing it right now.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh my god,
gotcha.
But besides Nolan, are y'all familiar with the Ace Attorney games? You know, the visual novel series where you play as a like defense attorney of sorts. You know, the actual function of the legal system in Ace Attorney games is a little bizarre.
I watched a legal video about Ace Attorney.
Well,
he said it. He said, "I don't know the Japanese justice system, but this doesn't make any fucking sense."
Well, you know, the Japanese justice system is pretty fucked up. I always heard that like
a 99% conviction rate.
99% conviction rate. If it goes,
yeah. If you go to trial, you're fucked.
Yeah. So yeah.
Regardless of whether you're guilty or not.
Well, I mean,
kind of. No, it's more of those situations.
If you're convicted, you're guilty.
Well, it's not even about that. It's like they have some weird laws that like they can hold you for like a really fucking long time, like when you get arrested, and it's basically like you're either going to admit to the crime that you quote did, or we're gonna make your life hell kind of type deal. Like they very much like
if you get the death penalty,
the conviction rate is so high is because people just say like, okay, fine, I did it. And like they can hold your like. Sorry, go ahead, Crispy.
If you get the death penalty, they hang you. But they don't tell you when they're going to hang you. They just keep you on death row, and then one day they come and hang you. They never tell anybody. They never tell anybody when the executions are going to take place.
I don't believe that.
No, that is fucking true. That is absolutely fucking true.
That's
want to hear from
good. That's courteous, actually.
I want to hear
Yeah.
some Japanese listeners write in and talk about.
Do you really think we have Japanese listeners?
Specifically Japanese criminals.
There has
Yakuza, Brad.
we definitely need some
Yakuza
Japanese
fans out there.
criminals.
Any Japanese people on death row listening to us?
I'm guessing
If we
taking
got-
plea deals is even more common than it is here, and that's why the
Oh no, very,
99%.
very much, yeah. Yeah,
But-
that's why.
But we are off
So
topic.
the other thing
Well, we're
was,
off topic,
yeah,
but we're
no,
kind of
hold
on
on. I
topic.
wanted to say something real quick, Brad. I was watching like some random TikTok the other day of like similar to, I guess, legal, but like a lawyer watching or playing the Ace Attorney games, and like, he was kind of like answering the questions before Phoenix even got to choose for him. He's like, oh, when did the autopsy happen? And he was like, well, the day after the murder, blah blah blah. And the option was the day after murder. And then like what's his face? Oh, what is the guy's name? The guy that's
Edgeworth?
always on the other side. Thank you,
Miles
Edgeworth.
Edgeworth?
Miles Edgeworth was like, oh, hold it. And he was like, we have a second autopsy. And the guy started freaking out. He's like, no, this would have been submitted before court. You can't just bring that evidence. Like, just like going off on how it's such bullshit.
That's the whole thing that like Legal Eagle's always going on about is like there's a process called discovery. You can't just stop the trial and go investigate further.
It's like cinema sins for the law. I don't like it.
I guess.
Well, the point is, this is a visual novel series. It's kind of goofy, kind of funny. They're like comedy visual novels, if you will. And
it's like the law.
This series, this one specifically, The Great Ace Attorney, is a period like spin-off, period piece spin-off. This takes place at the turn of like last century. So like, around 1900. They don't really say, but it's in that era of Japan and Britain, I guess. You go to in this game. No, it is a lot like that, actually. So if you've ever played like Yakuza Ishin or Kenzan or whatever, those are like very much the Yakuza formula, just in a different time period, like feudal Japan, right? To the point, and the characters look like the characters, but they're different characters, and this is kind of like that. So when I played the first case in this game, even though I had not played like a full Ace Attorney game since the original, it was like almost exactly what I remember. Like almost like frustratingly so, actually, because there's been a lot of Ace Attorney games between
and
the
that's
original.
What I wanted to bring up. Yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up, Brad. Is I was surprised that you'd only played like the first one, because I played several. I played the first one. I played Justice for All and Trials and Tribulations, and I think the reason I stopped was because they're all the same. Well, and it's like one of those things where
So are the stories and like the mysteries unique
that's
enough?
Everything. That's everything. It's look, the strength of an Ace Attorney game is the writing, the localization's really good. They're really funny games, and they have great characters with memorable personalities. The characters are like insane. And one thing that, as you're playing through one game and then like the subsequent games, but even within one game where you do like 5 or 6 cases or whatever, you'll see characters that you met earlier in the story in earlier cases. They'll like weave back into the story in like cool, clever ways, and you'll be like, oh, it's fucking that guy, and there's lots of twists and stuff. It's a very like entertaining story, and it really, like, the characters really start to grow on you, and by the end you're like, twists are popping off, and it's exciting. It's just a well-made, well-localized visual novel, and this is no different. Now, I say the first case is so similar to the original case in the first game, in the way it like plays out and everything, like not just in terms of mechanics, but in terms of like the plot, even kind of. I don't know if that's like on purpose, because this is sort of Ace Attorney but in a different era, and this is almost like, as like a clever nod to that first game, or if, like Nolan said, they just have all been kind of similar, but I don't know, because there was like a spin-off series like where you play as Miles Edgeworth, and that's
so Miles is the prosecutor, you're not a defendant. So yes, I understand that, Brad, but and let me rephrase what I said earlier. Yes, all of the stories were always delightful. All the characters were always great. Like it is pretty goofy, and that was fun. My problem with it is when you're in the trial setting, a lot of the times it can be very slow.
Yes.
And that's kind of what got on my nerves. Is they're all the same and they're all very slow, because it's not just that oh, it's slow. It's like the text is slow. You'll know what you're trying to
He's
submit
saying
for
all my
evidence,
frustrations with the series.
but it's like it takes forever to get there. It's like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I see where Miles is going, and I already know what evidence I need to like submit, or whatever. Or the other problem is if you're cross-examining a witness and you know they made a lie, but
You are
you
literally I
have
have
to.
notes here, Nolan, and you're just saying all the things that I'm gonna say.
All right,
Because
well, I'll let you continue then.
so a lot of my frustrations with the original game is why I probably didn't play the subsequent games, why I stopped in the second one is because a lot of the issues Nolan's talking about. They can be very slow, they can be very drawn out, very tedious to play through these games and to get through a trial because like and like he was probably about to say, like when you're cross-examining someone and you just want to get to a point, but you have to like press them on up comment, and then you have to get all through that, and your little assistant makes a comment, and then you're ready to get back in there and present your contradiction, and it just takes so
And
long.
and
So when I was
I don't know if they fixed it in the newer ones, Brad, but at least in the originals, if if you wanted to press them, or sorry, if you wanted to submit, objection, I have a contradiction in your statement, blah blah blah. Sometimes it wasn't 100% clear which statement, because maybe they had like 6 statements and you have to submit the
Mhm,
evidence on the correct one, because if you do it on the
mhm.
wrong one you get a penalty. But it's like, wait, should I do it on this one, or let me check the next one? And you go to the next one, it's like, fuck, it was the other one. You
I,
can't go back, you have to like go around.
yeah,
Like, I
yeah,
just
yeah.
remember it being super tedious to like
It,
actually try
the,
and.
again, my memory of that original one, when I played this first case, it was so similar, and every single thing I didn't like about that first game popped back up. But but I but I got through that first case and I was like, I don't even know if I want to play this. But I kept playing, and the stuff you do between trials, at least in the original games, you just kind of walk around and you talk to people and you click on things. And again, that could be very slow, that can be very tedious because you got to like inspect every single thing in the environment. And I thought that was a little frustrating as well. But I eventually went into the options and I turned on this option. And if you're going to play this, you have to do this. There's an option that says, like, if you want to be able to skip scenes, like turn this on, right? And obviously I don't want to like necessarily skip a scene when I'm playing this game, but what it does do is it lets you like rapidly tap through the button to get through the dialogue quicker. And that is huge. That is huge because it like takes a lot of, because you read faster than the game like is giving you the dialogue, so being able to like make it all instantly appear with like the press of a button. So I'm not skipping the dialogue, I'm just making it appear and cycling through the dialogue so much faster. And if you like, God forbid, accidentally click on something you've already clicked on before, usually it lets you kind of like speed through that, but not always. But if you turn this option on, you can speed through it a lot quicker, and it makes it so much breezier, and it's removing a lot of that tedious frustration. But you compound that with the fact that like certain characters are starting to grow on me. I see a certain character that appeared in the first case again, and it's like, oh, it's that character. Like, I the frustration is going away and the charm is starting to wear on me in a really positive way. And I'm starting to really grow attached to the characters and the story, even though I'm not very far in this game. But I was instantly reminded of all the things I hated when I first started playing this game, but now I'm remembering all the things that I really love about that first game and that second game and this series in general, because it's quite good. Now I do want to point out that there is something new that I've noticed, because I've only played like a game and a half, is that the stuff you do between trials, which when I played a game was kind of just like clicking on shit, getting the evidence, figuring out where to go to just like progress the story. Because I mean, that's a very Phoenix Wright thing too. Like, did you click on everything? Did you exhaust all the dialogue options? Because only when you do that is a scene going to trigger in like this other room or whatever, this
Mhm.
other location. But one of the things that you do in this game, because there's a character who's a part of this story. His name is Herlock Sholmes. You probably
Ah,
see him on screen here.
Jesus
He's
Christ.
he's like he's kind of like Sherlock Holmes, but he's sort of an Inspector Gadget like Sherlock Holmes, where he's kind of a like a doofus, and all
Mhm.
his deductions are actually like terrible. Like he makes these horrible leaps in logic, but you sort of become his like Watson, if you will, and y'all do like a what do they call it, the deduction, it's like it's like a deduction dance or whatever. There's like actually a clever name for it, like a pun, and I'm
Hmm.
just fucking it up.
Mhm.
But it's a what is it called?
What-
What is it called?
Somebody in
Deduction.
chat has to know what this is called.
Prince probably knows a deduction, like a dance of deduction. I think it's called. It's like a
Hmm.
play on dance of seduction or some
You're
shit.
right. That was
Mhm.
pretty
And
clever.
and and so what it is, it's like Herlock Sholmes gives his, like, I figured it out, like his Encyclopedia Brown, and it's like
Way
completely
off.
way off, and you have to go in there and present evidence and key parts to actually like correct in each
Mhm.
step of the way where he made a mistake. So, and like present evidence and like, actually, don't you think it's probably this? And like you're kind of working together, and at the end, you're like the camera's turning around and you're like posing together, and it's just like really charming and clever and cool. And this character was annoying at first, but now it's cool. I can't wait to do my dance of deductions
Your
with him
dance of seduction. I mean,
because they put like mechanics into this part of the game outside of trials, where before it was just kind of talking to people and looking for evidence, and now you're doing these goofy little things where you're kind of playing Watson, you're kind of playing Penny, if you will,
Mhm.
to Herlock Sholmes,
is
and
Wow.
this is this the first Ace Attorney game that's been on like a console? You mean like not like
what?
relegated to like the DS? You know what I mean?
No, the
Relegated.
first 3 games have been ported to a lot of stuff.
Wow.
Oh, I'm
Relegated.
really.
Shows what Nick thinks of handheld games.
Well, it's funny you say that because the
I
Switch
haven't dug my
is a
3DS out in a long
handheld, and
time.
these are ports of
Eh,
3DS games that never
Yeah.
came to
Well,
the West. So
also, Nick,
this
Yeah.
is a
the
3DS.
original, the original Ace Attorney came out on Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
I did not mean to offend anybody,
Wow.
especially
No,
especially
it is
mobile
offensive.
gamers
It is
or portal.
offensive. It's offensive to like Nintendo's vision for sure. I mean, the
How
Switch is a handheld,
Yeah,
but like
Won't you
also
take Nintendo's vision into account, Nick?
also like it
I'm
being
sorry,
on a
I
handheld
apologize.
does not make it like less interesting or something.
Motherfucker, I did not mean to imply that it did.
I don't know. You're just making small talk conversation. I get it. I get
No,
it.
I mean I'm genuinely curious. I feel like to me it's always been a series that's been on like the DS. And
Yeah.
I personally, and not because I dislike the DS, but I have not played anything on the DS in ages. So to me this is like the first thing. It seems to me like it was the first game to come outside. Like I don't remember anything being on the Wii. Maybe I'm wrong.
This is
I
a 3DS game that's been up-resed for the Switch. I'll say that. So it's a handheld game, but like that's what's cool, right? That we live in a world where Nintendo has one system and there's still games that kind of have that handheld game feel. And I think a visual novel is just naturally like good on a handheld. And this is the kind of game where if you got it, you'd probably play mostly in handheld mode and in handheld mode because it's kind of like reading a book. I mean, a lot of this game is text,
yeah.
it's a visual novel. So it's good. It's suited for that, but it does look good. Back when I played Ace Attorney, they didn't have these 3D models. It was all like 2D art, but not only did it have like memorable characters, the series, or not only does the series have very memorable characters like that are really silly and goofy or whatever, like I mean like really bizarre characters. I don't like. There's this one investigator who's always like undercover, and he, for whatever reason, they haven't explained it yet, he has a cough where he coughs blood, and like blood's all over his face when he does it, and then
Mhm.
he like wipes it off. It's just one of the things he does. They haven't explained it yet, but that's the kind of weird characters you have. There's one character in the first case that had like a bird on her head, and but the point is depending on like their reactions in the old games, they would have very like they reaction like poses, right? um like if they were like stunned or shocked or like indignant or whatever, they would do like a very memorable pose, and they would, it was 2D art, and they would recreate these like, and throughout like their interactions with them, they'd have these like memorable poses, and going from the transition from 2D to 3D, I was like, well, how are they going to do that kind of like anime reaction pose or whatever? And they've done a really good job transitioning from 2D to 3D, because now it's not just jumping in animations, they're actually like animating, but they're still having those like key poses that make these goofy characters like pretty memorable.
I
And
think that is kind of getting to the heart of maybe what I was trying to say about making the transition from like the DS to
the
the
3DS.
Switch.
No, no,
I
no.
mean,
This
does
had
look
3D art on the 3DS.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, you win.
That's fine. All I'm saying is, when I first started playing this, like, I was really dragging my feet because it was like, I don't think I really want to play this. I mean, I do, but like, I was just playing like Monster Hunter Stories and like Astalon and stuff, and those scratch like a gameplay itch that to me could be really addictive. And this is not. This is like a story that's very plotting, and you're just reading, like
Yeah.
a book kind of, and and you got to put the time into it, and it's not something that you can just play while you're like easy, like you're distracted with other things, right? You got to sit down, you got to like read the
You gotta
fucking
focus.
story. And I was kind of dragging my feet because it was really tedious, but it started growing on me. I figured out that skip button to speed up the dialogue, and it's been a lot better, and I'm happy to play more. The only issue is that there's so much stuff coming to Switch right now, and I have a lot of games I'm playing on Switch, and that's frustrating. But it seems like a cool package, right? There's two great Ace Attorney games that never came out over here, and if a lot
Is
of
the other one a period piece too, or is it just
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah, they're both in this line of the old this old, you play as Phoenix's ancestor or some shit, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But it's cool, and I know there are Ace Attorney fans that really wanted a new one, but like being able to play this one, these two that never came out over here is probably equally just as exciting. So I'm excited. I've
but-
always wanted to
Cool.
play through that original trilogy and maybe
Yeah.
some of the others, but this is a good. This has been fun, and
It's
I
probably gonna be a
recommend it.
while before we get a new one though, because
I
Shutakumi
recommend.
now working on Monster Hunter.
Well, I don't think the people that make Monster Hunter make Ace Attorney, but I get you.
But they're putting all their eggs in the Monster Hunter basket now. Capcom is a
Basically.
Monster Hunter
If it's
company
not Monster
now.
Hunter or Resident
Monsty
Evil.
eggs. Put all their Monsty eggs in one.
Yeah, but so this is the part of the show where I like to back up a little bit and have small talk. Because
It is?
it was made very
Yeah,
apparent that
totally.
I was all antsy. Like I take a week off from recording a show, and I'm like, I don't know how this works anymore. We got to talk about games. But I don't know. Before we move on, some stuff has transpired. Brad, you said you watched the Suicide Squad. I imagine Crispy also watched the Suicide Squad.
I watched the Suicide Squad.
Among other things, but I figured
I watched the
I
Suicide
bring up the
Squad.
nerdy shit on this podcast.
I mean, that's what this podcast is for. The
Wait,
nerdy shit.
did you
So
go
what-
see The Green Knight?
I did, but did you?
Fuck!
Ooh,
Fuck!
how was that, Brad?
No, I didn't. Oh, and now it's like, now
I
I
was
can't.
killing you?
I was
Killing
hoping.
you? Hey, man, I
Now it's like.
I don't want to
I'm
bring it
dying
up
to-
because
I'm-
I thought it'd be a sore subject for you. So
It is sore. Don't. Was it good? Did you like it?
it's excellent, Crispy. You should see it.
Okay.
You have to see it.
Okay.
I'm
In a
really
theater.
excited to go see that myself, but we just got back from our trip and we were like, so we drove to Pennsylvania, right? For a family reunion thing. And we were kind of hesitant to go because of all, COVID stuff happening, right? So we were like, all right, they had to cancel last year. We're going to go, but we're going to wear our masks and we're going to like be socially distant as much as we possibly can. We're going to be super careful. And we get there, and within like 20 minutes of being there, we were like, this is going to be real difficult. So we did what we could, but we came back and we're like, well, we're definitely quarantining basically for 2 weeks, and we're going to get COVID tests and all this stuff, which we did, and we both tested negative, which is great. But we're still being extra careful. But like, I'm eager to get back. I want to go back to the theater to watch The Green Knight, among other things. But we're gonna put it off just a little bit longer. Let me tell you what. We took a day trip to Philadelphia, and we decided we were doing some touristy stuff, right? And then we
You
saw
go to
this.
Patty's Pub?
Yeah, we did not, no, but we had Philly cheesesteaks, which was pretty cool. But we broke off. We broke off
When
from
in
the group.
Rome.
Yeah, right.
There's
We
no.
broke off. What?
I was gonna say there's no part of Patty's Pub that's in Philadelphia. The
There's not?
exterior streets in California, and they shoot
no,
it on
no.
a set.
Crispy was a joke.
No, it
Oh,
wasn't, Nolan. It was serious, and I could hear it in your voice.
I'm going to assume that's from help me out here. The
No one help him.
Always Sunny.
No one
Always
help.
Sunny.
Yeah.
It's Always Sunny, right?
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
it. I got it. I know what's up. I'm cool. I'm hip. But the point is, so
No one has
the group
ever said that about you.
the group kind of split, right? Some of the younger folks split off from the bigger group, right? And we were like, hey, this tavern over
So
here.
where did you
looks
and the old
pretty-
folks go, Nick?
Fuck off. Fuck off. We broke off from the group and we saw this tavern, right? And we're like, it looks pretty slow. Like right now it's not super busy, and we were hungry, so we decided to stop in there. And all the employees were wearing masks. It was great, and they put us on this table kind of back in the back corner, right? We're like, oh, this is cool. We're comfortable. This is nice. Haven't really been in a restaurant much in the past year and a half. And then like almost as soon as we sit down and we order our drinks, 2 wedding parties came into the tavern at the same fucking time, and all of a sudden it was like shoulder to shoulder, nobody's wearing masks, and we were all like, what the fuck? So that was great. Yeah, what I'm trying to say is not going back to the theater anytime soon, even though I'm
I know.
fucking dying to.
I know.
A lot of good stuff in theaters right now.
And we can get some people
Nobody
together.
ever
We
said
could
what they
like
thought of
rent a theater.
But hey, yeah, the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, what the fuck's up with the Suicide Squad?
Did any of you other nerds watch it?
I watched
said I
it.
did.
Just me and Brad? Or
I'm
and
gonna
Nolan?
I'm gonna watch it this weekend.
Dude,
Is it good?
I don't
it's
have money.
so good. Like it is so good.
It's very good.
It's
I liked it.
You
Brad liked it.
No, let's talk about that. Let's break it down. What's up, Brad?
No, I want to know what Crispy's problem with the Dance of Deduction is.
Oh, I don't know. It's just
A
words.
dumb name.
It's not like the
No, I thought it
dance
was.
of deduction. Oh. If I have the slightest amount of alliteration, then all of a sudden it's.
I bet you would
clever.
love the Dance of Deduction,
I bet
Crispy.
I would. If I could stand to play a visual novel, I bet I would enjoy it.
It's a good one to get into.
I'm already
What? I said
playing
I
a
liked it.
visual
What'd you
novel
want me
right
to
now.
say? What'd you want me to say, Crispy?
No, I don't know. I mean, it seemed like you had thoughts.
Were there any characters in the Suicide Squad that didn't deliver?
Are you?
A
Like,
lot of them didn't deliver, but that would be spoilers.
No.
No, I think he
that's not what
means.
I mean, like,
I think he means like performance-wise.
yeah, like when Suicide Squad came out before, it was kind of like, oh, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn is great, but fucking Will Smith as Deadshot sucks. You know what I mean? Like, are they all cool this time? Or
I
think they
thought
were all
Jim
good.
Carrey was a good Riddler, but Tommy Lee Jones wasn't a very good Two-Face. Or wait, no, the other way around.
You thought
I give
that
up.
Tommy Lee Jones was a better Two-Face than Jim Carrey was a Riddler?
I didn't think that. My older brother thought that. That was the line he always delivered about that. Nick delivering the Margot Robbie's good, but Will Smith sucks. Reminded me.
I don't
of
know.
that.
I thought Drew Barry was great in that movie, Brad.
I don't know, man. It's like
I like
rephrase the
TDK.
question.
I like TDK.
Since I'm gonna have to like beat this out of you guys,
TDK was great.
what?
Are we still talking about the Suicide Squad?
Yes,
I
TDK
am.
is a
I'm
character
still
in the
talking about
Suicide,
the Suicide Squad.
and he was great. You didn't like
Nathan
TDK,
Fillion.
Crispy?
Nathan Fillion.
What? I didn't
Okay.
say anything about TDK.
All right,
I-
how
like,
about
okay.
this? We can't talk about the Suicide Squad for too long, but how about this? Who is the standout character in the Suicide Squad? That is not Margot Robbie, because I feel like, I don't know if everybody here is going to jump to Margot Robbie, but a lot of people I think would be like, oh, Margot Robbie's great, but like, we know she's great.
It's not
who's
cool to
great?
like Margot Robbie
Yeah.
anymore.
Polka Dot
No.
Man would be my vote.
Polka Dot
Polka
Man.
Dot
okay.
Man's really good. King Shark's really good.
Seeing a lot of King Shark memes.
I
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
John Cena.
John Cena's
Cena-
character is pretty good.
John Cena was really good, and he's like getting his own show. Like
John
I mean,
Cena.
really?
John
they're
Cena
all
elicited-
good.
John Cena
Ratcatcher
elicited the
too.
most laughs from me from the trailer. The
Ratcatcher,
trailer, his moments in the trailer have been pretty good.
it is a stupid funny movie. Like it is. They're all really funny. Ratcatcher is great. There is a wonderful like flashback scene for her where it's like her and her father, the original Ratcatcher, And the cameo casting that they get for that one, I was also a big fan of.
Yeah,
really
I didn't
good.
see that one coming, but I was surprised.
I
Yeah,
don't
All
remember.
right, I'm pretty stoked. I'm gonna watch it this weekend. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, it's a pretty fantastic movie. I even love I just love the thing that they did where they like break it down like it's a 6-issue arc. So like every like chapter or every like issue has its own title and like they work it into like the actual like visual design of the movie. Like it's oh my god.
It was pretty good.
And like the climax of the movie is both the most disgusting and beautiful thing ever.
All right, I'm sold.
Like
I'm sold.
it's amazing.
That sounds pretty awesome.
I was really surprised by how like funny Idris Elba was too. Like
It's
I
pretty
don't
good.
know.
Would recommend.
It's
All right,
exactly
awesome.
what the Suicide Squad should have been. You know?
Does this very much feel like a do-over?
Yeah. I mean, it's like
It feels like a sequel that's way better.
yeah.
And
In
that's
that
what it
regard,
is.
it's a sequel that, for intents and purposes, completely ignores the original.
I
It
mean,
doesn't though.
yeah. I mean, it
Right?
doesn't. It doesn't ignore it. It just doesn't bring it up.
Hey,
Well,
there's so many things in the
what's
DCEU
another
that's like
series where like the sequel, like the first one's just fucking terrible and the second one's like fucking amazing? Does that exist?
Yeah, that's
Probably.
a lot of people would say Star Trek: The Motion Picture is not very good, but then Wrath of Khan is incredible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But I don't know that I agree with that evaluation of Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Dang.
Is the motion picture part of the title of that movie?
Yeah, it's called Star
Yes.
Trek: The Motion Picture because it was the first one. They didn't know
Fucking
they were gonna do
fascinating.
9 of them.
Fucking
But
fascinating.
then, yeah, Wrath of Khan's like the best one that they've ever made.
All right. Well,
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I was surprised that I feel like it wouldn't have been a sequel if it wasn't for Harley Quinn, and they were like, well, we got to put her in there, so she's got to be in the do-over.
And
So I guess it
also,
just has to be a
oh
sequel.
my god, Rick Flag! Like I fucking hated that character in the first
Oh,
movie.
he was horrible.
I hated the character and I hated the actor, and I was like, "This is dumb."
So
and Rick Flag in the Suicide Squad is like one of my favorite characters.
Kind of going back to it, a lot of it had to do with just the editing room shit that happened to that movie, but also the writing for Rick Flag was horrible in the first movie. Like the way they wrote his character, like his motivations in the first one were real fucking dumb.
Everybody. Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. But that's what I'm saying.
Amanda
So I agree.
Waller, like the characters are just like nasty and unlikable, I guess,
Yeah.
Which you're writing a story about villains. They're not supposed to be like heroic. They're not supposed to be like super aspirational, but you still have to like connect with them somehow,
Yeah.
Like
I wasn't really connecting with Amanda Waller in this one either. So
once again, that's kind of the point.
her
we have talked
in
about this,
particular, but like.
But speaking of Two-Face and the Riddler, I watched Val, the documentary about Val Kilmer.
How's
How was that?
It was actually pretty good. I mean, I've always been a pretty big fan of his, so it was interesting kind of
Is that
seeing.
on Amazon
It's on
Prime?
Amazon Prime. Mm-hmm. So I mean, if you're a fan of Val Kilmer, I'd recommend it.
I didn't know that he had like really aggressive throat cancer.
Cancer,
yeah. I think I found out a few years ago, and I was surprised. But obviously, he's not shouting it from the rooftops.
He's been very
even so
quiet about it.
Yeah,
but he's
still been
like
active though.
Well,
he's
was
been, like lately. He's been very eager and kind of excited to kind of like be involved in like films and whatnot again. And a lot of people are like, "Wait, he's still around?" And I don't think a lot of people just realize he was sick. And like, there's a reason why he's been, he disappeared and hasn't made a lot of appearances, and why he's changed, physically and whatnot. It's just.
What were you saying, Crispy?
I was gonna say he was in that movie The Snowman.
Yeah,
a few years back, and they had to like completely dub over all of his dialogue.
He can't talk. I mean, so sorry. Yeah, like the problem is like the radiation, the chemotherapy and stuff like fucked up his throat and his like voice box. So while he can make sounds, it is very hard to understand him.
Even to this day.
Oh yeah, now
permanently.
Permanently.
Yeah.
So while you can understand what he's saying, that's not, you don't have someone talk like that in a movie. It's just because the audience would be like, what? Like what? Like
I know
he doesn't sound like Val Kilmer.
he got super excited. I saw on social media to like he was like, "Yeah, I'm ready to be back for Top Gun Maverick," and I'm like,
Yeah.
Is he really in that movie? Did that end
So
up happening?
I wouldn't be surprised if they just ADR like his lines or something like that,
Yeah, I
which
think
is
he's
fine,
in
and
it.
I'm sure he's for that. Like this whole the whole documentary is actually he kind of created it. It's not someone creating something for him, which is kind of interesting. That he apparently was super into like film his whole life, which also sucks that I found out that he had two other brothers that were also kind of into film. And then like as soon as he went off to I think Juilliard, his younger brother like had a seizure and drowned in a hot tub. And that's like that fucking sucks. But it was like a brother that he made home movies with, and apparently he has
Oh
like a
man.
warehouse that is filled with just footage from when he was younger and through movies, and so he has like behind the scenes stuff that not like someone shot of him, that he shot like on the scenes of like of Tombstone and Top Gun and like
Oh, that's
everything. So
cool.
he's like document. So that's why he wanted to do this while he's still able to. But yeah,
Yeah.
the whole thing is it's voiced by his son via him, so he talks as if like, oh, blah blah blah. So it's
Oh,
pretty good. I
that
would
sounds
recommend it.
cool. I want to watch that. Sounds nice.
Mm.
Sounds nice. All right. But in an attempt to rein this back in, video games. Am I right?
Mm.
Uh,
Eh,
eh.
eh.
Hey, Chris Davis.
Oh.
I want to talk to you about Chernobylite for a second. Actually, I want you to talk at me about Chernobylite. You were on Discord this week trying to get me to play Get Even again, like I haven't already promised.
Yeah, I
gonna
was
do that.
because things happened with this game.
What, with Chernobylite or with Get Even?
With Chernobylite.
Okay.
Shit.
I don't know. I bought Chernobylite. It's kind of like one of these things. It's gonna be the first thing I play now that I got my fucking GPU situation figured out. But so what's up with this game? It's weird. It's not what it's kind of not what I've heard. It's not what I was expecting it to be, because it has like what survival elements and base building and shit.
Yeah. Okay. So let me try to be concise with this. That's not easy to do with this game, but I'll try. This is a first-person exploration survival resource management game.
Sounds concise.
It's dude, this game has so many things to it. It's okay. So
But in a good way or a bad way? Because that could go either way.
I think overall in a good way.
Okay.
It has a lot of interesting ideas to it. I think some don't exactly pay off as well as they potentially could. But the fact that they're there and they're as well done as they are makes them interesting.
Okay.
So the idea is that you are
Igor.
You're Igor. You're a nuclear engineer doctor guy who was at Chernobyl at the time of the accident back in '86. Your wife that you were with at the time disappeared at the time, and you have
During the
lost your
accident?
memory of a lot of like what happened after that in the past like 30 years. So
Okay.
you've basically gone with a couple mercenaries to Pripyat to infiltrate the power plant where you think your wife is and rescue her.
Wait, sorry.
Do you think she's just chilling in that power plant?
Well, you think
No,
she's
she's
been
like fucking
kidnapped or
Genova in
she's
that
like
power
trapped
plant.
in there somehow.
It's gonna be
But
fucking Genova. She's gonna be just this like weird mutated husk floating in a glass tube. Sorry.
Nick,
Wait, am I getting a little too close? I've only played 28 minutes of this game so far.
okay.
Okay, first of all, if I'm right, don't spoil it because
I'm not
I
going
am
to
gonna play
spoil it.
this.
I'm not going to spoil it, but
Did you already
this
finish
game, like, the first 6 hours of it is like every 45 minutes they throw something new at you. And then halfway through, they decide to throw in a brand new mechanic at you that kind of completely changes your perspective of the game.
Okay, that sounds cool.
Yeah. So the structure of the game is that it's a 3-tier daily experience. The first tier is the morning. You're waking up. You're going You select a mission and you send your compatriots on missions throughout the map to gather resources and explore the area.
So you're in like a hub, like a base.
In your hub, your base. In the afternoon, you have walked through a portal and you end up in that level you choose to select, and you do your mission and you explore and you collect resources. And then once you've finished once you've played as much as you want in that area, you open up another portal, you go back to your base, and then you spend your resources, you feed your guys, you manage their mental health, and you upgrade your base.
Okay.
And you just rinse and repeat for, I think, up to like 30, 40 times. I think you can go longer than that, but there's a certain point which the game just says, yeah, you need to start going towards final mission.
Is this a roguelike?
There you go. Okay, so halfway
Sounds
through
like
the
a yes
game,
to
they
me.
introduce a roguelike mechanic in which when you die, you don't die. You go into the netherworld, the world of the Chernobylite. And in there, you have the ability to affect time. So you go into this
Christy's
area.
face lights up. Did
Okay.
somebody say time?
Okay, there's
Ghost.
there's semi time travel in here. Okay, so you go into the Chernobylite realm, and
Is this like
you
Singularity,
you get
baby?
to witness,
I didn't
or
say
you get
had
to
explain
see.
the story behind it being a roguelike.
Hey,
Someone
hey,
in chat said, "Careful, Chris Davis."
Brad
and it sounds
doesn't
I'm
care
trying
about
here.
that
it
aspect.
sounds
I'm not
like
giving
you're-
away the story,
No,
but
what
I'm
saying is
trying
he
to tell
doesn't
you
have
what
to
this game
give me the
is.
story spoilers for why it's a roguelike.
It's so you go into the Chernobylite world and you get prompted with you can interact with the decisions that you have made in the story in the past, and you could choose to alter those decisions. And those, based on the outcomes of what you choose, those can influence your characters that you're with. Like, they may get in a bad mood with you, or they may even leave the fucking group if you antagonize them too much with too many bad decisions with them. And it's like this.
That's cool.
It's oh my god. Okay, so they do that to
This is
you.
it. This is Chris Davis's next Get Even. I mean, it's made by the guys who did Get Even, so
Yeah,
that was always going to be the case. But
I mean, I kind of okay on my first stream. I kind of lost my shit because you finish your first couple of days, and then once you've completed like your first full day, and you start setting up your base, and you can actually go to bed for the first time. They introduce like this element that was a very major part of Get Even, and they just kind of make it part of the experience.
okay.
And
So
What is that element?
But that's not going to be particularly.
Is that the element?
It's a headset, and it's very, very similar in scope and function as to the headset from Get Even.
But in Get Even, I assume it's significant because it plays.
In Get Even, it was the game. The headset was the game. Everything that happened in it was related to the headset.
Okay, which would make it I'm actually kind of glad you told me that, because since I am playing this before I play Get Even, that moment when you get the headset probably wouldn't have seemed like a huge deal. But it's kind of nice to know that little tidbit, I guess.
So
But
This is
let me
secretly
clarify about
Get
that,
Even
though.
too.
Just to be clear, this is not Get Even 2.
Secretly.
but they're establishing connections. Like
there is no direct connection ever.
Got it. They're just one trick pony. Gotcha.
But no, that's you're not too far off there. But there is like they take the lessons and kind of some of the gameplay mechanics they figured out in Get Even, and they put it into this. So there's like so many different small elements. Like with this headset, for example, when you go out into a map and you're completing missions and meeting new characters, you're sometimes unlocking clues and pieces of information, and you eventually use that headset with those clues and facts to develop a simulation of what actually happened based on that information.
So we're talking about like Arkham investigation kind of shit, or Titanfall 2 kind of shit. You're
Do you
Kinda
do a dance of deduction?
Okay, kinda. It's It's you go
There
into
we go.
you
heard
go
it
into a
first.
simulation. I don't want to spoil it, but it gives you information and it tells you, oh, okay, this is why this character is like this. This is what happened to this character, and that progresses the story and the mystery that's going on.
Okay. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Would you say Get Even is like Suicide Squad and this is the Suicide Squad?
No, I would not.
Because he still loves Get Even.
And he
I
still
do-
hasn't seen the Suicide Squad.
I haven't seen the Suicide Squad yet because I have no money right now.
One
He's
of the
not
best
equipped.
clips that was ever
HBO?
generated on this dumb website is the one where Carlos and Crispy are laughing. Somebody brings up Get Even and then they just laugh for like a minute straight.
So the core gameplay loop here is that every day you're going out to a map, you're completing an objective, and you're gathering resources, and then you're
maps are
going
open?
home. It's open levels, but it's not open world.
Right.
So
I'm
segmented
not saying they're
levels.
like all interconnected, but you're each of these levels that you go into, they're not like linear maps. They are like open environments.
No, they're open environments. Yeah.
Okay. That's
And there are locations that, since you played Stalker recently, you will recognize some of them. Like
recently,
Pripyat
I'm still
Central.
playing it. In
Like
fact,
you'll
it's
you'll
weird
recognize Kopachi Village, things
it's,
like that.
It kind of sucks that I didn't get to finish Stalker before this game came out because I totally intended to on the stream, in fact, but my GPU situation happened, and
Well, you
now
should
here
finish
I
it this
am
weekend.
playing. I mean, I'm planning to, but now here I am playing Stalker and Chernobylite, which is what?
I
It's
mean, they're
weird. It's like
two
I'm doubling
radically
down on
different
this-
games, though.
Yeah, but there's the scenery is so like the imagery is so similar.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't want to like burn myself out on like the setting. But I have
Yeah.
we have to move
Well,
on in a second.
Chris,
But
but
I do have a question for you.
Yeah, well, let me. I want to point out a few more things. The visuals in this game, the foliage is surprisingly good.
Oh, no. Yeah,
There are levels where you go into forests, and like you can get fucking lost, man. If you didn't open your map, you would just get fucking lost.
I did boot this up with my 3070, and it looked nice.
This game
I
also has
wonder what it
horror
looks
elements.
like on not a 3070.
Probably all right. It's
I mean, I'm
it's
running a
all right.
1080 Ti and it's working really good. So, and I'm running at ultra settings. So, there's horror elements in this game. It will jump out and get you every now and then. You know how I am about. I'm kind of like I'm a limp fish when it comes to horror games. I just don't react at all. This game did make me jump a few times.
When it comes to horror games,
A limp fish,
I mean, I don't
like a bad handshake.
Yeah, basically, limp wrist, whatever.
what is going on?
Whoa,
I don't know.
That's a different thing. Wait, okay. Yeah, okay. For argument's sake, let's say yes, we do know what you're talking about.
This
Limp fish.
game did get a few jumps out of me. There was one particular moment that just made me have to stop for a bit.
I get it. So like when you're holding a limp fish, but it's not actually dead yet, you just like fished it out of the water, and then it like flips
And then
out.
it flops, and you're like,
Yeah,
ah!
So like the jump scare is like the limp fish.
Is this the
flopping
limp
all
fish
of a
show?
sudden.
No. I was gonna make this the Dance of Deduction show, but now I have to decide between the Dance of Deduction and
Look,
the limp
they're
fish.
they're twirling around the room. It's a play on Dance of Seduction. You know,
That,
it's
what?
a very
You keep saying that. Is that like a phrase?
Like we should know what a Dance
You know,
of Seduction
Dance of Seduction. You know, Dance of Seduction. It's a play on the Dance of Seduction. What the fuck are you talking about?
It's a sexy dance.
Wait, Brad's like, wait a second. Are y'all telling me y'all don't do a Dance of Seduction before you make love? That's
A sweet deductive dance.
I thought that was just part of coitus.
It's a deductive ditty, okay?
Two more cool things I would like to mention real quick about Chernobylite.
Sorry.
You
Yes.
said two more things 4 things ago.
Well, shut up, Brad. So first is that there's base building in this game. You have a warehouse that you've basically procured, and based on the resources that you've collected, you can build like instruments and equipment and things like that to craft. A lot of crafting. and kind of some pretty cool stuff you can craft too. But they 95% they stole this like setup for base building straight from Fallout 4. Like everything down to like how the like the fucking green line filter thing is to highlight the objects in the environment. Like that's straight from fucking Fallout.
I had a feeling to call it slow Fortnite.
Oh shit!
And the other cool thing that I kind of got excited about too was that throughout the game there's a final mission that you're made aware of. You're gonna do a heist at the power plant. And
okay, spoilers. Let's be careful. I didn't know about the heist, but
no, it's every single time. Like you see it, you learn about it in the first hour. Okay. It's not a spoiler. There's going to eventually be a final mission.
Yeah, to be fair, I've only played 28 minutes of this, so you know.
Oh dear.
I haven't even played enough to get to learn about the heist, but that's my fault.
But the cool thing about it is that, like how they did Fallout, they take some significant inspiration how it you build it up and how it executes for Mass Effect 2.
Gotcha.
It is, but don't spoil it. But I particularly enjoyed how they handled it.
Too.
Did you finish this game already? You sound like you may have finished this, or you're like
I finished it. I finished it over the weekend.
Okay.
I will say you are beaming, Chris Davis, and that's a good sign. You seem very excited about this game, and I'm glad.
I was very pleasantly surprised by this. Again,
part
of that stems from
you were expecting this shit to be like your favorite ever.
No, I was hesitant as shit about this.
It's literally a game made by the Get Even people.
But it's also a game that was in early access for over a fucking year.
It's true. That is...
I wasn't quite thrilled about that prospect of it, but I got it, and it surprised me in a lot of ways, and I think it's a solid B tier game.
B tier.
Okay.
Wait.
I mean,
I was on board till you said that.
Oh well, with you, Brad, anything that's not an 8.5 out of 10, you don't play anyway. So,
wait, this is not an 8.5 out of 10.
Where did that comment come from?
I
didn't know I was a score chaser.
I will say that this is an indie game, and it's we're not. Is it technically indie? I mean, it's a studio that made Get Even. They're established. Are they? Is this an indie team or?
I mean, I want to. They're mostly indie. I think they did have some publishing help with this, but only for the console releases. I think they self-published on the PC through Steam.
It seems, if I remember correctly, it's a pretty small team, but whatever.
Yeah,
it seems like it has a lot of components to it.
This team is talented as shit. Get Even was pretty good. This is pretty good, and then they made a competent Battlefield clone. That has gotten pretty good reviews in early access.
Which game is that?
World War III.
Wait, the game is called World War III?
It's literally called World War III.
That's a good name. I mean, it's
got my attention. All right, well...
I mean, I'm not saying they're particularly good for like naming conventions, but they do a good job of copying existing gameplay ideas and building their own things out of them.
Chris Davis, let me just tell you, if the guys that made Singularity got together and made a game that was kind of like Singularity but set in like, I don't know. Come on, Brad. What would it be? It'd be
biker zombie setting.
Sure. Yeah. You know what? I'd be horny for it too. So I get it. And I do plan on playing this, and I will report back on a future episode to talk about my opinions of this game. And then I will eventually, at some point, go back and play Get Even. I picked up Get Even for like super cheap on PC. I have it. It's ready to go. I will play that someday.
Carlos says it's the most Nick-ass game he's ever played in his life. So
yeah, but that's Carlos. And
wait a minute. The creators of Singularity did make a zombie game, Nick. They probably assisted in some Call of Duty Zombies maps.
Oh,
or some
yes.
Shit, right?
Thank you for getting me excited and then letting all the air out.
And Nick, Get Even is half a horror game.
Yes, that's what I hear. But I hear Chernobylite is even less of a horror game. A lot of people, I think, were expecting this to be kind of like horror Stalker, but it's less horror than
That
Stalker. Even.
no, that's accurate. It's less of a horror game, but that being said, it did get some jumps out of me. So
and it's got some good. It looks like it's got some good atmosphere. Anyways, let's shift gears for a minute. Let's try and fit in one more game before we cut for break. Do you want to do? No, I'm going to give you the choice. Do you want to do Grounded or Overcooked?
If we want to do a quick one, I would say let's do Overcooked.
All right, hit us with those Overcooked thoughts. You've been playing some. What is this? A new expansion for Overcooked 2?
Well, I've been playing a shit ton of non-new Overcooked content. It was when they released All You Can Eat, which was a combination of Overcooked, Overcooked 2, and basically all the expansions. I picked that up, and I've been playing that with Bernadette a lot, just because it's something that's fun that we can play together. That she's pretty good at. So it's not like her, she's lack of confidence. Like we're not going to play Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time. That was a little more complex.
Really?
But I mean, it's a little more daunting.
I had such a hard time playing this with Malia.
What, Overcooked? I think it's one of those things where you kind of have to get used to it. And yeah, if I am comparing it to something like Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time, obviously you're doing like 12 different things in that game. Not only are you interacting with something different on your ship, you're also having to move your ship to different places and fight things. Versus this, it's literally like make a hamburger. It's like, okay, so chop this and put this and so I think we not too long ago beat both of the games and the expansions, and we actually started going back through the game because once you beat a level, you unlock like a 4-star ability once you beat a world, you can now replay through that world with an even more challenging score limit. And it's one of those things where it's like you almost to an extent have to be perfect in order to do that. Like whereas like when we're playing a level, if there's like a spot where you can fall off and go in water and it takes you 5 seconds to respawn, if we do that, we'll restart the level because it's like super tight like requirements. And so yeah, we've been playing Overcooked, and then the other day we were having a lot of trouble with a level, and then we tried it like 5 or 6 times, maybe even more. And just we couldn't get this score, and so we're like, let's just kind of give up for the night so we don't get too frustrated. And we go to sleep, and I wake up the next morning, and usually one of the first things I do is like check my emails and stuff, and I check my personal emails, and then like 4Player, like kind of video game announcement stuff, and like out of nowhere, like Overcooked expansion, and I just like lean over, or sorry, I start playing the video, and she's like, "What? Overcooked?" Like she like perks up because she hears it, and so I'm like, "Yeah, new expansion that comes out in like 2 hours," and so yeah, we ended up playing it that night. I know.
Nice.
But yeah, so it's a new one. I forget the official name, but it's all about like birthday party, and the reason is because it's the 5-year anniversary of Overcooked. So it's their expansions are generally fairly small. They're some of the larger ones can be kind of big, but a lot of them are fairly small, like 5 or 6 levels, and that's about what this one is.
That seems like a lot.
I mean, we beat it in one sitting, kind of type deal. Each level ranges, less than 5 minutes of actual like gameplay. It's more about if you can do it properly. But they added new new types of foods in this, so you're making like tea, and so but similar to other Overcooked games, sometimes it's just like tea leaves and water, but then other times you have to add milk or like honey and stuff like that. And the other new concept they added in this one was like, it's almost like an Alice in Wonderland type thing where there's this big, I don't know what it is, but it's this big guy that walks around and he just like has like a portal, and he just kind of walks around the level, and like if you get sucked into his portal, you get like teleported across the map, which can like mess you up. And that's just kind of one of the new things they added as a challenge. But then you're also like making cakes, so cakes and tea for like
birthday cakes?
Birthday cakes. But yeah, no, it was definitely a lot of fun. I wish we were recording this episode the other day, because the other day Best Buy had Overcooked All You Can Eat on sale for $10. Best Buy's doing their like 10 days of $10 games, and so highly worth it. It's hours and hours of content.
I remember what it was. It was the rats. The rats would show up to steal the
shit.
Oh
my god, the rats are horrible.
We couldn't deal.
Yeah.
We couldn't deal.
So yeah, in some levels there are rats, and so a lot of the times what you do in Overcooked is you prep a bunch, so you'll get out like a bunch of onions, but then if you leave an onion or something sitting for too long, a rat comes out and steals it and runs away with it.
Little rat
So you gotta
bastard.
fucking punch. You gotta punch the rats in order to get them to drop it, or punch them before they get to the food. But yeah, those are very annoying.
You know, I often think whenever we talk about Overcooked, I think about so. Overcooked is one of those games I remember very fondly playing at like PAX with y'all because it's just one of those games you can kind of sit down and like it's immediately fun, especially if you're, with friends and whatnot. And I think we only played it at like one PAX, maybe two, or at least I did anyway.
I think we played it one game night or something for a little bit, but
yeah, we did that for a game night. It's just had such longevity, and then I think about all the years that we played Spy Party, and I keep asking myself, did that game come out? Is that I know this is kind of a weird left turn, but it's just one of those. It's like we played it like year after year after year at PAX at the same corner of the convention hall. Like,
I think it's early access.
I think it's still technically early access. Yeah, it's definitely a lot more finished.
Bananas.
No, it seems like early access. Sorry, yeah. It's just one of those things where since Chris is working on it with a very, very small team of people, it's taking a very long time for it to come out.
Still great.
It's definitely if you've not seen it recently, it has come leaps and bounds and miles beyond what it was when we originally played it.
We were playing that game when it was just like.
I mean, I have
like monochrome environment. Oh my god. Look at that.
This is the read the fucking manual for Spy Party at the first PAX it was at, signed by Chris Hecker.
There it is.
Says, "You guys were awesome, Chris Hecker."
Well,
but yeah,
we were awesome back then. Anyways, it's just funny because Overcooked. I still think about how much fun we had playing Overcooked that like one time at PAX, and now it's just like they've made so many expansions, and it's just grown and grown and grown. Now has a sequel, and it's on all kinds of platforms.
That Storyteller game's finally coming out. That was next to Spy Party at that one PAX.
Oh wow!
Where you rearrange the people and they tell it in comic book panels, and it tells a different story depending on
that one looks pretty good.
That game's finally coming out.
Yeah,
and that was back when we first saw Spy Party. It's coming out this month.
All right. So what do you say we take a quick break? When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about Grounded because we streamed that last week. We'll answer some questions from our supporters on Patreon and Twitch. And, of course, we'll wrap up with the 4-Player Minute. So if you're watching us live, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the show. I'm going to cut that part out. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We're going to talk about Grounded in a second, but real quick, this isn't an official news topic. I don't think it really came up in the questions. I just wanted to bring it up and see if I haven't been paying super close attention because I've been out of town. But it seems to me like this blue box thing, right? There was an actual tweet today from Blue Box with the whole abandoned thing, and they were supposed to launch this thing about abandoned on the 10th, and it's still not out because they're having all kinds of technical problems or whatever. But like in a tweet today, an actual real tweet, they said, "Guys, we appreciate your patience. We are 100% real," which sounds to me like something
like a lie
that someone who isn't real would say.
Yeah.
What
you know what's happening? Like just very broadly, what's happening is that we live in like this postmodern age of like information overload, and nobody can trust anything that they hear or see because reality is completely subjective nowadays. So like the more this guy tries to assert that he's just some dude making a game, the more the internet's like, "Fuck you, Kojima!" Like
this is just like some weak ass ARG.
insanity.
I think they need to go further. I want to see some like Kojima deep fakes and stuff.
I mean,
crazy.
Yeah, they're gonna find like a photograph of like the two of them in the same room together somewhere. Like,
I mean, what's blowing my mind is that, like, did we talk about this in the last show? I can't remember when they released like another teaser image for this thing, and like the blur is like a blurred image of a person's face, and it looks like fucking Solid Snake.
Solid as snakes.
It looks like
sorry,
what you're
Solid
trying
Snake.
to see.
We
Yeah.
can't tell if this is deep deception or just like
Bullshit.
general hackery.
Yeah.
Like is he just a derivative hack who's just like ripping everything off? Or
I will say, like, Kojima's not this like annoying with his teasers and stuff.
yeah, I mean this is
So, like,
beyond the pale at this
this
point.
does not smell like Kojima at this point.
Mhm.
This smells like someone desperately trying to recapture the magic of PT, and I think it might literally be related to PT.
Oh shit.
Like, what if this is just like a re-release of PT or some shit, and they sell it for money? A free thing that they took away from us for no reason. What if they remaster it, quote unquote, and sell it for money?
And we will buy it. Well,
People will buy it.
people. I say we, and I speak for the masses. As
I mean,
people.
people would be happy if it's just PT again. You could get it on everything too. Maybe. Fuck.
You're gonna call it PT Part 2. PT.
I'd take that. PT squared. All right. I just wanted to see if there's something I fucking missed. It's been very confusing, and every time I have like the alerts on my phone on my Twitter account set up for Blue Box. So when I see them tweet, I'm like, "Is this the one?" And I click it,
fucking
and
sap.
every time, I know.
The real time that the other day when they were doing their worldwide release of their real time kind of experience, that was just a fucking disaster.
That's literally what we're talking about.
But like
that was supposed to come out on the 10th.
Yeah.
And it's not out yet. And they are still like, at this point, if they were really having problems, I feel like they would be like just silent. Like, we're working on a fix, it'll be ready when it's ready, but instead they're tweeting like every day saying, "We appreciate your patience." And every time they say "we appreciate your patience," the internet loses their mind just a little bit fucking more. And it is crazy to me that this thing has still not been resolved. I cannot believe there could be this big of a comedy of errors happening surrounding this thing. What an amazing journey this has been.
And there's no way it's gonna pay off. Like, if it is a Kojima project, then just this fucking entire experience has been so fucking stupid and it's a fucking disaster.
We already know it's not though. So Nick, I'm looking at this photo, this blurry photo. I don't see Snake. I see Majima.
What?
That's who I see. Majima from
Yakuza. Because of the eye patch.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's because you're a Yakuza.
Put up a picture.
That's because you're a Yakuza stan, okay?
Crispy could put on an eye patch right now and he'd look like the guy. Like, anyone could be that person practically.
I feel like Crispy's the kind of guy who has an eye patch like within arm's reach of where he's sitting right now and could
yeah.
Please tell me this is real.
No. I'd have to actually stand up to get it, but wait, maybe.
But is in the room.
That would have been the most epic moment.
Wait! Oh no, that's bootlaces. Never mind. Yeah, I don't have.
Close enough.
Sorry.
That would have been great.
Sorry to disappoint. I'm in my 30s. I'm not as wild as I used to be.
Hey, you're growing this like wild, like lush hair and this like thick beard, like it's like
this is just like agoraphobia. I think like this is just not wanting to go outside.
Oh man. All right. Well, enough about that. I just wanted to bring it up because I was like, "What the fuck?" the other day. But we do want to talk a little bit about Grounded because y'all played it last week, and this is a Double Fine game, right? Is it Double Fine?
Mm-hmm.
Am I?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
It's Obsidian.
Obsidian. I was kind of close. It's
Those
an
are
Obsidian
like
game.
polar opposite studios.
Thank you.
Very.
Thank you, Brad, for calling me out on that. Anyways, Obsidian game came out a little while back, and it was co-op, so it was suggested last week for our co-op stream. I don't know much about that. I haven't really heard anything about this since it came out. So what's the word on?
It's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the video game.
Right.
No, it's Honey, I Shrunk the survival game.
Yeah, it's a survival game, but it's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. you're in a
Yes.
backyard or whatever, and yeah.
And you're trying to survive by eating aphids and drinking dewdrops.
Oh,
Man, they should do a survival game based on inner space.
Ooh.
Right?
Featuring Dennis Quaid.
And Martin
Fucking
Short.
surreal. Jesus
Martin Short,
Christ.
yeah. Who was the woman? Was that that wasn't Meg Ryan?
I don't
Who
remember.
was that?
I'll look it up. Keep talking.
Anyway, so yes, last week we did a co-op stream of our game night. It was me, Brad,
It was Meg
Chris Davis.
Ryan.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
And Carlos. Unfortunately, this footage is just me because we didn't capture any footage while we were playing, and then I didn't have.
I heard you
anyone
had a
to play with,
mishap
so.
today capturing footage.
So apparently, GeForce Experience does not recognize Grounded as a game, and so when I tried to record it, it just recorded my desktop. So anyway, I did get some actual footage. So what the footage you did miss was me finally finishing our dew catcher, because that was one of the things we were struggling with when we were playing. Is you're constantly low on water, and while you can find a puddle and sip out of it, it's gross. And so it lowers your food, and so you don't want that. You want fresh water, and the only fresh water sources are if you find a juice box and it's maybe dripped some stuff. Or especially in the mornings, a lot of the blades of grass will have dewdrops on them. And you can either jump up to them or you can knock them down and grab them before they dissipate on the ground.
I love
and
how
so
the drops go rolling down hills and shit.
yeah, they do. You have to chase them if you gotta be quick. But so yeah, and finally in this footage, I was able to, or the footage I missed, I was able to craft a dew collector, which is essentially you get a bunch of spider webs and you spin them on a spinning wheel, and you can create this thing that I guess attracts dew. And so in the mornings there'll be dewdrops on it. So instead of having to hunt,
like a rain catcher for dewdrops.
Kind of, yeah, exactly. So yeah, so it's one of those things where what are the dangers when you're a tiny person? Well, it's big ants and spiders and mosquitoes. All of these things are very dangerous.
Larva,
all
Jesus.
of us, yeah, even larva. Yeah, all of us died many a times last week playing this to ants and I don't think any of us died to mosquitoes, but they were pretty dangerous.
Oh, I died to a
I saw
mosquito.
that ant. I saw that ant come at you from the side for a second. I was like, ooh.
Mhm.
Mosquitoes in this fucking game are like cazadors from Fallout New Vegas. They're numerous and they never leave you alone.
Yeah. But yeah, in regards to ants, Nick, the ants are fairly harmless unless you antagonize them. Most of the insects aren't super aggressive. Like ladybugs will leave you alone, but if you attack them, they will go ham on you. And so ants are similar, but there was a chip we had to go and get because I don't really know the lore behind it, but there's a robot, and that robot is kind of helping you to get big again, but you have to collect these chips for him. They're like a computer chip, so that he can learn new programming to be able to teach you recipes for crafting new stuff. What's up?
Is this like open? Like what is like the general? Is it just like you can explore the backyard freely,
Yeah.
or there's like
Yeah.
zones, or what? What's
Yep,
Well,
giant
yeah.
open world. I mean,
You
it's not as
can-
big as like Valheim or some shit. It's
but you gotta be
definitely.
careful. You might head into an area where there's some nasty
Yeah.
spiders, and you're not
Oh
ready
yeah,
for it.
spiders will fuck you up like pretty quick. And so it's all about like any survival game. You start off with very simple tools that only can do so much, and they break quickly, and then you can maybe learn how to craft something better. What you're seeing me do in this footage is I finally learned the recipe for like grass flooring, and so I'm trying to build out a base now. So like right now, all of our shit's on the ground, and one of the problems with that is ants will be like, I'm gonna come over and steal your shit. And so you kind of maybe need to build that up a little bit higher to protect yourself
I
from
wonder
them.
if you can like build it high enough to where it's over the grass line or whatever. You could see the whole yard. That'd be cool.
Maybe I haven't tried. But yeah, so when we were playing the other night, obviously it just started, so very scrappy early on. You're constantly trying to find more food, and water, and like resources and whatever. And one of the things in this.
Was the co-op experience any smoother in this? I guess I'm comparing it to Valheim a little bit. I know Nolan went on to play a fuck ton of Valheim, but I remember our first stream playing Valheim together, and it was just kind of like chaos.
This was definitely a lot better than that. I will say one of the nice things about this is a lot of the stuff you kind of share more easily. When one person learns how to build something or craft something, everyone learns how to do it. When one person gets raw science, it goes into a pool for everyone, and so it's almost like you're not learning this or earning this. The world is, and anybody in this world now has access to it, kind of type deal. It's everybody. Now, granted, like materials and stuff you pick up, yes, whatever you pick up you get, but obviously we have like a shared chest where you just kind of throw everything. I would say this is a little more like I don't know the best way to word it. I would say this it's a little more like survival than like base building, because while we have started building bases and stuff, it seemed like in Valheim it's so much easier to just be like, oh, I want to build this, and bam, you're done, kind of type deal. Whereas this, it's been taking me a lot longer.
And
one thing I do,
there's I feel like there's no need to like survive through the night, because you could just sleep until morning, which takes away a lot of the need for shelter.
Well, yeah, that's the thing with something like Valheim. You to sleep, you have to have a bed that's covered by a roof, that's near a fire, that all these requirements. And maybe eventually this might be like that, but since it's early access, it's not. But in this, you just essentially need like a little lean-to that you can sleep under, and they're very easy to craft.
It seems like every survival game I've played so far, which admittedly not a ton, but like I'm just now kind of getting into the genre, but like most of the ones that I'm used to, it's like you sleep, and even if like you're not necessarily near like a fire or whatnot, it's like you're when you every hour you sleep, you're like losing nutrients, or like
you do it in this as well.
Okay.
When you sleep, you wake up thirsty and hungry. So one of the first things you do in the morning is go and find some dewdrops or an aphid to kill and cook on a spit, because you can't eat the raw bugs. You got to cook them first. But yeah, so I mean, there's a lot more depth to this one in regards to like outfits and abilities and skills. And so like one of the things that we kind of started to just unlock as we were ending the stream the other day is like, you have mutations, which it allows you to run faster, or maybe hold your breath underwater longer, or maybe do more melee damage, so stuff like that. It's more, I want to say, gamified. The last thing we found when we were streaming the other day was I found like a complete outfit that's like made from like bee parts, and I don't think we ever actually encountered a bee when we played. We saw them flying, but we never actually like fought one or anything. But this bee outfit is like all about like stamina, and it's one of those things where originally when I was kind of running around the world, your stamina goes down pretty quick. But now that I have that whole bee outfit on, like, holy crap, I can run like a really long time without stopping or running out of stamina. And so every kind of insect has their own weapons you can build from them, and outfits you can build from that all specialize in something. Ants are more kind of about like power, like brute force. Mosquitoes, like you can use them for like making like I think either daggers or like arrows. I just in this footage towards the end I unlocked the ability to craft like a spider fang like dagger and stuff like that. So I mean it's definitely a survival game. It's definitely fun. It has the whole shtick of being Honey, I Shrunk the Kid kind of type stuff. So obviously
it's kind of hard to tell in the footage, but it seems like it has kind of a cool look to it too, like just like with the way like things are, like you can see the insects like flying around and stuff. And
yeah, definitely. You'll randomly see like a shadow go over you of something flying around. And one of the scariest things is you'll be walking, and all of a sudden, maybe off in the distance, you see blades of grass starting to bend over a little bit, and like all of a sudden, out from them pops a giant fucking spider. And it's pretty. Yeah, no, dude, the spiders are terrifying.
Did you guys play?
No, we actually did kill one.
Arachnophobia mode.
No, so we
had just like these you like. I mean, you've seen that, right? Arachnophobia mode.
Yeah,
I know that it exists.
Legs or some shit.
It just like turns the spiders into these like oblique, like geometric shapes that are chasing you. It looks terrifying in its own way, really.
I think what
I
it
was gonna
does
say
is
that
it
does sound
removes
kind
the
of scary.
legs, so
Mm.
you're
It
just
does.
getting
So
like
it's just
the
like this fucking floating blob that's like chasing you, and it maybe has like 2 eyes on the front or something. It's
I feel
Interesting.
like that's the kind of the opposite of. It's called an arachnophobia mod. I feel like
yeah. No, it's like for people who have arachnophobia who can't play
Oh!
the game, it just makes the spiders look less like spiders.
I was
Yeah.
coming at it from the opposite direction of. I feel like arachnophobia
Oh,
was supposed to be intended to make it more
terrifying
terrifying.
spiders. Like, yeah. We'll give you arachnophobia.
Exactly, which could be cool too in its own way.
Yeah. But yeah,
I
no,
didn't get to go exploring in like the pond or whatever what was there. Like,
yeah,
what
there's a
was
little
down
like
there?
koi
underwater stuff
pond.
is
Oh,
cool.
dude,
There's
there's underwater spiders. First off, which do
No.
exist. Then there's a big koi fish. There's lots of little underwater bugs. There's tadpoles. There's lots of different things. We found like kind of like an underwater, and I would say this game is kind of. We found this and like I said, I don't really know what's going on with these like kind of like alien spaceships that have crashed that you're finding, but we found several of those that you can kind of interact with. And the one we found in the water area, we couldn't figure out how to unlock the door. There's kind of some puzzle to that.
Like
and so I think it's one of those
little
things.
aliens.
So you don't actually see any aliens. It's more of like you find this little ship and there's like robots on it.
Right.
Could it be
it could just be
toy?
But judging by the scale of the ship, they would be tiny aliens, right?
Correct. And yes, it could just be a toy. And it's like like a Toy Story-esque thing. And it's like Buzz Lightyear is a space pilot. Blah blah blah. Like,
Is there
Well,
any
how do
like
you get- how do you
Superland
get
moments where you see
shrunk?
like a kid, like a kid?
none
playing
of
in
that
the
has
yard?
happened. No.
No, but see like birds and shit.
They
Birds
have
do
to
exist.
do. There has to be like the thing from Honey I Shrunk the Kids, where like the kids mowing the yard and they're all like, right? That happens, right?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Ah.
Crispy
Yeah.
describing that makes me want to go watch Honey I Shrunk the Kids.
I've watched it recently. It's surprisingly
up?
good. It holds up. It holds up. The second one is, like the second one's the one I've seen the most, and it didn't hold up as well. It's weird. The second one's weird, and the third one's not.
I told you
No,
I
but-
cried at the
But I watched all 3 of those movies in one day during like the first couple months of lockdown because that's where I was at mentally, And the franchise is kind of weak, but that first one is still.
Don't forget the TV show they did.
I
Did-
will forget it. Yes, I
Did-
will.
Did I tell you on the podcast that I cried at the end of Honey, I Blew Up the Kid when I saw it like a year ago?
My God, yeah, because like the fucking
The kid grabs like the Hard
The
Rock
Hard Rock
Cafe
guitar,
or whatever, like
yeah.
guitar, and then like the helicopters come over and like shoot it out of his hands, and he starts
the
crying.
resolution to
And I
that
got
whole
very
thing.
emotional.
Yeah, the resolution of that whole thing where like the mom blows herself up and is like, "Come here, Adam," and then like they hug and everyone on the ground's like, yeah, when the kid's like crying and everyone's just kind of like, oh, it's like a Godzilla movie where everyone stops running and like feels really bad for Godzilla for a second. Like it's kind of funny, and I think the boss, the guy who owns the laboratory, who just shows up in the third act and is like, "Oh, I'm way cooler than that other dude who's been the antagonist this whole movie." Doesn't make any sense to me at all. I don't understand that. But
Okay,
I
so
don't know.
if
I'm sorry.
I know we're
Way
on a
off
tangent here.
track. I'm sorry.
So the first one's Honey I Shrunk the Kids, and then the second one is Honey I Blew Up the Kids.
Honey, I
Yes.
Blew Up the Baby.
The baby.
Oh, Honey I Blew Up the Baby. What's the third
Well,
one?
no, it's
The
Honey.
third one's called
Honey, I
Honey,
Blew
We
Up the
Shrunk
Kids.
Ourselves.
But
No, it's not.
It-
It's Honey, I Blew Up the Baby. Don't
It
fuck
is?
with me on this, Chris Davis.
It's
And
Blew Up
man,
the
I gotta
Kid.
Google that.
It's Blow Up the Kid.
No way.
I think it's
What-
Blew Up the
what
Honey,
is
Kids.
I
this,
Blew
some
Up the
Nelson
Kid.
Mandela
Yeah.
shit?
Okay, whatever.
Honey I Blew Up the Babies. Sounds
Yikes.
But that's
Like a
what it
horror
is.
movie.
It's like it's their toddler. Like
Yeah.
it's their little baby, and then they're like, oh my God, the stupidest fucking thing in the world, because he takes the kid to the lab where they're experimenting with like a larger, more refined version of the shrink ray, and they're trying to do enlarging experiments, and he's like, oh, hey, little baby Adam, give me your toy bunny. I'm gonna use it on this fucking crazy sci-fi science ray. And then while they're not paying attention to the kid, because of course they're not, the bunny is like about to get zapped, and the kid like walks over and tries to pick up the bunny, and he gets zapped. And they're like, "Oh my God, how did this happen?" Like, it's insane. Like that movie makes Rick Moranis' character, Szynski, Nick? No, what's his name? I don't
Scumbag.
remember. Yeah, makes his character seem so
Wayne
Wayne
Skalinsky.
Slalinski.
Yeah,
Wayne Slalinski.
Selinsky.
Yeah, makes his character seem like way more negligent and like just a bad father than like any of the other movies do. It's fucking terrible.
Did you know the neighbor from Honey I Shrunk the Kids was Max Headroom?
Who's
What?
Max Headroom?
Really?
Oh
Yeah.
my god! Oh, you're right. He was something else too. Oh my
Who
god.
is Max
He's in a lot
Headroom?
of things.
Oh,
Okay,
Nick.
I'm
Oh, you
old.
sweet summer child.
All right, I'm looking it up. All right. Anything else you want to say about Grounded? Seems pretty cool, but I don't. Now I kind of want to just go watch Honey I Shrunk the Kids.
Fuck it.
Fuck it.
I didn't realize this game was still in early access.
It's amazing theming. Like this whole the concept of being little people in a yard is just the coolest.
Yeah.
That's really the strength of this game.
It could stand to
Yeah,
have a
that's-
few
that's-
bounce passes to it, but other than that, like, yeah, it's a solid
Well, I
force.
mean,
course it
it's
will
still
be.
early access.
We
yeah.
geared
Yeah.
up and fucking took down an anthill, man. This
Yeah.
shit was awesome.
It was
We
pretty
took down a
exciting.
fucking
But-
spider.
yeah, we did. Yeah, we fought it in like a Coke can.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that is one of the things that gives this game an edge over other survivals. Because something like Valheim, it's like, oh, survival, but you're like Vikings or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like versus this, it's like the shtick is a little more than just you're living in a world. It's instead of cutting down trees, you're cutting down like
It's a bit
blades of
more
grass and dandelions.
high
and-
concept.
yeah.
Also, it's kind of
All right,
nice
I'm
that
looking for
you're
this
playing
Max
as actual
Headroom
characters
person.
with personalities, you know? So
What do you
That's
mean?
true.
Is Max
What's up,
Headroom
Nick?
in the first movie?
No,
No,
the
okay.
actor
We can't get
is
into
Max
Max
Headroom. Max Headroom was like a fucking media personality from the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right, we need to move on. Grounded sounds pretty cool though. But now, if Nolan, Nolan prepares to read some questions.
I'm ready, but sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, before you do that anyways, I want to read some feedback because haven't been doing that lately. That's my fault. But I do want to encourage you guys to send some feedback in. If you have anything you would like to respond to, any questions you might have, and as a result of the conversations we're having on the show, just go to 4playernetwork.com, find the post for this episode, and leave us a question. We got 2 from our last show. One from Mr. Scorpion. Says, great episode, guys. Loved all the questions. They created some fun conversations. By the way, the last show was pretty much a questions extravaganza. We just answer questions from all kinds of people. He says, I just wanted to say that Ancestors seems like the kind of game where you have to either heavily invest every bit of your attention into its mechanics or sit back and listen to the crazy stories of failed civilizations never to be, because they couldn't clap enough cheeks or rub 6 together well enough. Which, yeah, it definitely does seem to be
he's
the
not
case.
exactly wrong there. Yeah. You really got to teach
Um,
yourself that game.
Yeah, which is honestly kind of why I'm interested in it. Slopdog says, I really appreciate this episode. Appreciate Chris Davis going in on this very niche, very weird, but absolutely interesting game. He's talking about Ancestors again. Appreciate Nick divulging his PC worries. I have some of the same, but something could be wrong moments as well. And I appreciate you guys going through all those questions. Fantastic episode, top of the year. So, well, you're welcome. We're glad you guys enjoyed it. I don't know how often we're going to do that kind of thing. We, of course, like to encourage questions from our supporters on Patreon and Twitch, which is what we're going to get to in just a second. But I did enjoy the occasional, like, opening it up to everybody and getting an opportunity to hear some new voices, hear some new questions. So maybe we'll do that periodically. But with that said, Nolan, why don't you hit us with some questions from our lovely paid supporters on Twitch and Patreon?
Sure.
Bro.
First one this week, we'll answer from Henry from Birmingham, Alabama.
Hi, Harry.
Microsoft has been making waves in the industry by purchasing multiple game development studios, Bethesda, Double Fine, etc., and gets a lot of credit for it. However, Sony has also been making multiple moves that don't seem to get as much attention. Recently, the list they purchased includes Devolation? Is that how you say? Deviation. Oh my god.
Deviation. That was that new
Deviation
studio,
Games.
right?
Yeah. Haven Studios, Evo, Discord partnership, House Marquee, and now Nixis Software. What do you believe is each company's strategy for these deals? Do you believe the moves Sony is making are anywhere big enough to keep up with Microsoft juggernaut? If not, what should they be focusing on, or what should they be consider purchasing? What's
I
up,
Brad
think
Dan?
seems like he
I
has
think
something
the
wants to say.
philosophies. Well, he kind of brought up the fact that I think he did that Sony typically gets less shit than Microsoft,
I don't know
and
if
I
it's
feel
shit.
like
I think it's attention. Like
Yeah.
everybody's making a
shit
big
and
deal about.
attention, and I think the reason is because Sony. I feel like Sony buys studios that they already like work really closely with.
Correct.
A lot of times they announce like a purchase, and you're like, oh, I already thought Sony may owned them,
Yeah,
that sort of thing, right?
they
When
were
like
just
when
kind of
they
making it
bought
official.
like Sucker Punch or
And
Insomniac, right?
yeah,
That shit goes back so far. You're like, oh, yeah, okay, I guess that makes sense that they bought them. While Microsoft's recent purchases have been like, studios that
left field.
they have had no real
Yeah.
association with. They're just trying to make moves to, get some exclusive IP, especially when they buy stuff like Obsidian or like Double Fine, which are two studios that not only have had a relationship with in the past, but a bad one, right? Like
Yeah,
Microsoft dumped Psychonauts, they dumped like Obsidian's big RPG that ended up almost killing the studio, and then years later they go back and like purchase them. It's a lot more shocking, I feel like.
I also
Um
think there's. He brings up the point about Sony not getting as much attention as Microsoft is, and I think that's precisely kind of the point because Sony is not in a position where they feel like they need. Like, I don't think they're buying these studios out of this any sense of like needing to expand their portfolio or their their portfolio of studios. They have so many good relationships and they have so many exclusives coming out of those studios, and that's why they get so much. That's
They have a
why
very strong market share. They don't
that's
need
why
to really
PlayStation
compete
is
that much.
yeah, that's why PlayStation is in such a good spot right now is because they have a lot of exclusive, they have a lot of really strong exclusives, and they have a lot of good relationships with studios, and they're just kind of like making it official with some of these studios, right?
yeah,
Uh,
like they recently bought the Returnal studio, right?
right,
Where
Housemark.
not only was Returnal like, a big exclusive for the PS5, but Housemark also made a launch game for PS4 with what's it called?
Oh God,
The
it's on the tip of my tongue.
the yeah, blanked on it.
Somebody in chat knows.
And they made a launch game for PS3 and Super Stardust HD Resogun.
Resogun. Yeah,
Resogun. So like they've
thanks,
had
Just
like
Mate.
a really
Just
close
Mate.
first party almost relationship.
And
Um,
Microsoft, on the other hand, has been struggling for years with exclusivity and not having a lot of games that are specific to their platform. So, like, they're buying studios out of a need for just like, we need to have games that people associate with our platform.
They need that
That's
catalog.
why that's why they are buying studios like Bethesda, because that means all of their future Bethesda games, which are a huge deal, will forever now be associated with Xbox.
what I would like
Um,
Sony, if they're gonna buy a studio, is to buy like a good Japanese studio, since they just shut down Japan studio and they have a long history of making games and assisting with first party games. And like now I don't think they have any Japanese internal development outside of Asobi, which kind of got spun off the Astrobot people,
Hmm.
and
which is a great studio.
Polyphony, which makes Gran Turismo. I think aside from that, everything is like European or Western or whatever,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy.
But to kind of like just the 10,000 foot view or answer to your question, I think is like their strategies are pretty transparent. Like I don't think there's really any secret here. I think it's easy to look at both of them and say, okay, the moves they're making when you look at it from a business perspective, kind of makes sense. So there's that. Next question.
All right. Next question this week from Gigamir from Kentucky. Skyward Sword HD still has issues, but the general take seems to be more positive this time around, especially regarding tutorials. If Final Fantasy XIII got a re release, do you think a similar reaction could happen? Fixing
No.
those tutorials would be one thing, but how dramatic would the other changes need to be for this game to work? Is it pretty much beyond saving?
I
Yes.
think there's an important difference here, in that Skyward Sword, for all the complaints people had about Skyward Sword, I don't. It always kind of had really charming Zelda personality, and actually when you look at like from a story perspective, it had maybe one of the more detailed, more like
Elaborate.
in-depth. Yeah, it had a more elaborate storyline. It
For
felt
a
more
Zelda
like
game.
for a Zelda game. It felt a little bit more cinematic. I don't think anybody ever docked points from Skyward Sword for being like not a good Zelda game from that perspective.
It
Final
had its issues,
Fantasy,
but like the
but like
timing of that game changed everything. Like there's a reason Skyward Sword's relevance now, which may be somewhat overstated, is because Skyward Sword came out pre Breath of the Wild, and now it's coming out post Breath of the Wild, and what that means, which we've talked about on the podcast.
It's not just post Breath of the Wild. It is post Breath of the Wild, pre Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah. People
It
know
is-
we have
everyone
Breath of the
is-
Wild 2 coming, so it's like, sure, I'll take a Skyward Sword. Fuck it, just give it to me.
They
I'm
need that
happy.
hit.
It's an old loved Zelda formula coming back, which when it originally came out was kind of old and stale, and now it's nostalgic.
Yeah.
As Final Fantasy, that would just be releasing a bad game again. Plus, that game already had a sequel and another sequel, and you know what? That shit was. I mean, no.
I mean, there's
Also, Skyward Sword
we give Final Fantasy 13 a lot of shit, and
came out.
I think rightfully so.
You were pretty
But-
positive on Lightning Returns, though.
No,
Skyward
I love
Sword.
Lightning Returns, but not because I love Final Fantasy 13 or because I love the world of Final Fantasy 13. I think Final Fantasy is a series that is beloved because the worlds and the stories they tell have always been well received. And I just don't think the world that they came up with in Final Fantasy 13 worked particularly well. And on top of that, they had you trudging
It's
through
also
this
didn't love
world.
any of the characters really.
Yeah, I mean, like they had you trudging through this like world that people didn't feel very connected to, with these characters that, outside of maybe a couple exceptions, one or two exceptions, was not entirely likable. And they had you going through it in a very linear fashion, which is also not necessarily the case with a lot of Final Fantasy games. So I just think, unless you want to completely redesign that game from the ground up, re-releasing it's not going to do anything. I still think there are things that I like about Final Fantasy 13, and I think of fondly about it, but I don't think there's any amount of work they would realistically consider doing.
Would you replay Final Fantasy 13 over playing Monster Hunter Stories 2? That's the real
Oh,
question.
fuck off. I was about to say, I was listening to gaming soundtracks a lot on our drive back. Like, I just had my playlist on shuffle, and we for hours on end. And I ended up listening to a lot of Final Fantasy 13 music, and I was like, maybe one day I'll play this game again.
Jesus, Nick.
I said one day, and
I think that soundtrack's overrated. I don't even like the battle theme. I think the battle theme sucks, and people think it's one of the best. So fuck all y'all.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past Square Enix to one day be desperate enough to do a remaster of the 13 trilogy. And there's things that those games could probably benefit from, like a visual hike or fixing the loading times and things like that. But I don't think there's much gameplay perspective-wise I think they can really do to...
Is Nick frozen?
I think he
His
is.
3070 died.
Oh, no.
Nice.
The blinking light. It came back with a vengeance. It's actually a pretty good still right there.
Yeah, let's move on. Next question this week from Illumination. From New York City.
The New York City?
Well, I don't know. It says New York City in parens Illumination. If you were a ghost, what would be the worst place to haunt?
Men's locker room.
Lavatory.
I was gonna say like a haunted house, like attraction.
Because then you don't even get to scare people
Yeah.
legit. It's all like
Exactly.
fine
They're like,
scares.
oh, that was dumb,
People
and then
are
you just feel
expecting
fucking because you got all hyped up to like haunt somebody, and they're like, ugh.
and
that would be a pretty bad one.
Mm,
What else would be bad?
mm.
Our stream camera.
That's fine. Don't worry about
I
it, Brad.
fixed
This
it.
is an audio podcast. Where else would be a bad place to haunt?
Maybe a dumpster. Haunting a dumpster.
A haunting dumpster would not be fun. Like if you were just like stuck at that dumpster, you couldn't haunt anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly. So it has to be a building, maybe. How about haunting a?
You just haunt an object, right?
You could, or a person. Like
Haunt these
bet.
nuts.
possess someone.
Hey, got him.
Sorry about that. My internet just shit the bed.
A doll. Haunted dolls are the dumbest fucking thing in the world to me. I hate it. I hate that trope.
Rude.
I'm trying to focus on places. Like what would be
No,
another bad place?
we just said items.
Okay. Well, I was trying to stick with the spirit of the question, but yeah,
Nick's
items. I'm trying to think of like
The spirit of the question.
the
Who would you
haunted
most
spirit
like
of
to
the
haunt?
question.
That's the better question.
Or like I don't know, like a government office. Like you just have to be in a DMV for eternity.
Oh god.
Or like
Texas governor's mansion.
No, you are like the saddest story is haunting a place that no one ever goes to.
like haunting a morgue.
Yeah.
That'd be a pretty bad place to haunt.
would it be worse to haunt a house with people who do believe in ghosts or don't believe in ghosts?
Do believe in ghosts because those people are
Yeah.
annoying.
Because those people would try to like exercise you and shit.
Well,
right?
either that or they will be desperate to try and prove that the place is actually haunted.
They'll want to like talk to you, like, oh, let me help
Yeah.
you move on. Yeah,
They're like,
it's just
"Oops, my
annoying.
penis fell out again, Mr. Ghost. Sorry."
Any of these fuckers.
I mean,
What about haunting a porno store?
they were so frustrated that they couldn't scare. Remember Beetlejuice?
Yeah.
And like Lydia was
Yeah.
just cool with him,
Yeah.
and then everybody else.
Well, she herself was strange.
haunting-
Oh my god! Deliver me from LL Bean.
Specifically haunt a single viewing room in a porn store. There
That
has to
would
be one of
mean
those.
you died there. That
It
would
has
be
to
the
be-
worst part of that. That would be the worst part of that. It's like you're jerking it to some porn in a porn store and you had a heart attack and died, and then that's just it. That's the end. That's like your story.
Or
Can't take that back.
or Crispy, that's when you now get to start interacting with the Sex Patrol.
The fuck is the Sex Patrol?
Yes,
You
Nolan. What is the
from
Sex
Doom
Patrol?
Crispy?
Sanji says,
Oh my god!
Sanji says, how does Nick
No, but
know
you
about the
wouldn't
viewing
want to.
rooms?
You wouldn't
Okay,
wanna...
first of all, the concept of viewing rooms has been in like all kinds of movies. Second of all, I have been in a porno store before. I'm not ashamed to admit that. I'll tell you this, I went into one porno store and I was like, "Oh my god, there are viewing rooms here. Get me out of here." And
Do they have the holes in the wall? I've only seen the porn videos
in the
where
room,
there's
I was
always
just
the
like,
holes, but like that's not real, right?
I was absolutely you mean a glory hole? I was absolutely shocked to
Sorry,
see
the
that viewing
holes in
rooms
it.
actually existed.
Nick's pretty horny for a prude, you know? Pretty prudish for a horn dog.
All right. Moving
Also,
on. Next question.
I wanted to bring up something before I forgot about it, but the man who played Max Headroom and the neighbor in Honey, I Shrunk the Kid, his name is Matt Frewer, and among many other credits, he was also in Castlevania. He was in Watchmen, yeah. He was also in Castlevania as the bishop. That's weird.
Oh, I think I do.
Okay.
He's still out there. Just fucking still threat.
Also, I was looking him up earlier too. He was in the animated Hercules movie. He played Panic.
He's done a lot of animation.
Alongside Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. Next question.
All right. Next question from I don't know if I want to say George or Jorge because it's with a J.
Jorge?
Probably Jorge.
I think it's Jorge.
From Washington State, but Texas raised. Love you guys. Been watching since 2010. Keep up the great job. Anyways, do you think Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to have multiplayer elements that might carry over from Dragon's Dogma Online?
I think so.
It's not a real
I would
game.
hope so.
Yes.
It doesn't exist.
There are two
Officially,
answers to
it
this
is
question.
Pipe dream.
There's two answers. One is, of course,
Where is
yes.
it? Where is it
Two-
then? What?
And the other
Like,
one is-
come on. Where's the proof?
I just hope that whatever
It's a
Dragon's
government psyops.
I just hope whatever the inevitable multiplayer stuff is for Dragon's Dogma, that it's a little less like a wannabe MMO and a little more like playing Monster Hunter Online, you know.
Mm-hmm.
What's
Agreed.
the worst scenario? Just a Dragon's Dogma remaster, or like Dragon's Dogma 2 being just Dragon's Dogma offline?
What?
Like,
I don't understand the question.
I'm
mean,
just
As
saying,
in,
like,
they just take Dragon's Dogma Online and make it single player.
yeah.
Which
No.
I mean, does anybody even know what that game even was like? Nobody. I don't think anybody here.
No,
is
it was
familiar with
Japan
Dragon.
only, and it
Japan
was a
only.
failure.
Let's be for real though. Like the online elements of that first game were not super robust.
They
Well,
were,
those weren't
for
even
all
really
intents and
on
purposes, they
console.
were non-existent. I mean,
It was like
there was no
a-
actual online element.
They were attempting
was
to
more-
do like Dark Souls-y type stuff.
Yeah, some data from your game got sent to another game. That
Like
was
the idea
as-
behind the pawns having like advanced knowledge of stuff was cool, but
Sure.
the
It was-
execution was actually kind of lame.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the reasons I think people want a sequel so badly to Dragon's Dogma 2 is because that first game, while flawed, had so much potential, right?
Yeah,
was
it
a
had
lot of,
great
like,
ideas.
great ideas that were kind of sloppily executed, which is
Mm-hmm.
why, you know, so was the first Monster Hunter, right? You know, you got to keep going. Like it was there were some really good ideas there, and I just want to play that game again, but with like a couple of other people. I don't, you know, like I want that experience, but you know, there was interesting classes, and now I want to see those classes working together, and you know, that'd be cool.
Get that visual
great.
flair going.
I just hope it's real. It's real. It's definitely real, right? It's coming.
Imagine a Mystic Knight tanking for a sorcerer as they're casting some like huge fucking meteor spell, you know? Common
Dude,
spell.
like in Final Fantasy 14, like when
I didn't want to
No,
say it, but
that is not. No,
like casting a huge meteor spell
no.
while someone's tanking
is
for
not-
you.
I do not.
I know
visualize-
you haven't gotten far enough in that game to know what I'm talking about, but
Oh
it's,
yeah, this is right. The combat gets so much better once you get the Shadowborn or whatever the fuck it's
oh my
called.
god, dude. You're just mad. You're
I'm not
we'll
mad.
do
You brought up.
we'll do one more
just
question.
jealous.
We'll do
I'm
one
not
more question before we wrap it up this week. This question comes from Brampton. Can I ask a question? Yes, you can.
Yes.
All right, so that's all the questions
Is that really
we have.
that's the one we're gonna end on? Is
Sure.
can I ask a question? Sure.
Brampton
Okay.
comes along.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Well, he just wanted an answer before he submitted his question.
Exactly.
For
I want
next
to make
week,
sure he
we
has an
expect a
opportunity.
question.
I
Yeah.
demand an actual question. What's his name? What's this person's name?
Brampton.
Brampton. I expect.
I don't know if that's a name
question.
or if that's a location because this is Brampton, Ontario. So I'm assuming that's a location.
All right, Mr. Brampton, Ontario. I expect an actual question. Shut up, Maggie. Maggie has a question.
well, let's answer
I
her
expect a-
question.
Ooh, actually, hold on. Let's get to Green Toast's question. I like this one. Question from Mr. Green Toast. What are y'all's thoughts on bathroom etiquette that everyone should follow? For example, I always towel off in the shower, but the rest of my family always gets out first to dry off, which leaves the floor sopping wet.
Yeah.
I get it,
mean,
but I stand on like we have a kind of a rug that sits outside of the shower, so I stand on that while I
But
dry
then doesn't
off.
your
Doing
rug just
too
get very
much-
wet?
Doing too much in the shower
Probably.
is just. I feel like you're gonna fall eventually. And
Yeah.
that's a bad scene.
Yeah.
Doing
I
too
mean,
much
so-
cow action.
Like most household accidents take place in the bathroom. you
Oh,
know?
speaking of household accidents and showers, I have a
Oh,
quick
what
story.
happened, Nick?
while we were
Oh,
out
did
of
you get your
town-
student loans paid off?
While we were out of town,
That's a joke.
Robin's mom was in town and she stayed here to watch watch the cats and whatnot. And she called us one day while we were out of town. She was like, I feel so bad. I went to get a broom out of the garage, and I brought it in to sweep some stuff for you, and I must have carried in a huge roach because it got off the broom and it skittered away, and I've been trying to find it ever since, and I can't find it. So we're like, oh, it's okay. Don't worry. We'll figure it out. So she went and bought all these like little roach motels, right? And she left them around. So we get back, and we like go investigate all the roach motels. There's nothing in it. And then we were like looking under the couch trying to find it, whatever. And we're like, can't find it. I guess it just went off and died somewhere or whatever. That night, the night I get back, I go and I take a shower, grab my towel, and I'm pretty sure it fell out of the fucking towel and it started skittering towards me. And it like I almost
Streaked like super high pitch.
Yes, not even kidding. And it was like running towards my foot, like I was about to like climb up onto my foot, and I like pushed the shower door open and almost fell and ate shit and probably cracked my skull open on the floor trying to get away from this stupid roach. And Robin's like, "What's happening?" I was like, "I found the roach. I found the fucking roach." So I just want to bring that up. I almost died this week.
You were huddled up in a corner in the shower, and Robin had to go in and deal with it.
It was huge. It was like a rat with a carapace.
No, I walked straight to the front room and grabbed a shoe, went back, and because we trapped it in the shower at that point, so I just cornered it and killed it.
Roach
But
isn't the worst.
Yeah, that was fucking awful. Sorry.
Towel off in the shower before I get out. But also, I have a standing shower with a textured bottom, so I don't think slipping's really that big of a...
I have this thing where, like, if I'm standing in the shower and the towel touches, like, the wet shower walls, like I feel like I'm gonna die. I don't know.
That's gross.
Can't handle it.
Yeah. Let's see. I
have a humble tub shower, so I get out because I don't want to slip in the tub. And
understandable. I'm a big etiquette on ensuring that the exhaust fan runs long enough after your shower, so you don't get a bunch of mildew in your bathroom.
You know what I like about that? My shower actually has a window in the shower that can open onto the backyard. So if it's nice out, I just open the window and take a shower like that.
Oh, that's nice.
Doesn't get all foggy or anything.
I have a window in the shower, but it does not open.
That's the best. I don't want to go back to a shower without a window. And it's like up to here. So it's like you can only see my head when I'm showered.
I can't. My head, the shower, the window of mine is like above my head. I can just kind of see the sky.
Well, I'm sure on Crispy it would probably
like a
come
prison
up to
cell.
here.
Like a prison cell, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, I think that's all the questions for this week. We got a lot more after a couple weeks ago when Nick kind of got on his hands and knees and begged for questions. So we appreciate that. Feel free to keep those questions coming. We will get to them eventually.
You can literally leave questions whenever you want. Oh my God, did Drunken Merchant submit more questions?
Yep.
Yes, he
That's
did.
what he does.
He did. We'll get to him eventually, Drunken Merchant. You're like the question.
We should do one of his tonight. We should do one of his just so we can knock one out. One final question. What's better? A warm hot drink on a cold day or a cold drink on a hot day?
A warm hot drink on a cold day.
I'm going to go with Crispy.
The other one.
I agree with Crispy.
Cold drink on a hot day.
Like a cold drink on a hot day is like, I feel like drinks by default are cold, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, to me. So, like, a cold drink on a hot day just feels like, well, I'm just, like, chugging water. Obviously, it's, like, a necessity. But, like, there's something about, like, a hot chocolate or, like, a nice, like, cappuccino or something on, like, a cold morning and just being like,
butterbeer.
But that feels like
butterbeer.
That just feels like, you know,
you can more feel the warmth
while the
radiate.
cold drink feels like a necessity.
Well, so that's what I'm going to say. Hold on. I agree with Crispy because when it's hot and I'm drinking some water, I'm not, like, holding the water bottle to cool myself off.
You don't
But
feel
when
the
it's- when it's
coldness
cold
radiating from your core.
You gotta put yourself outside. You know, you just mowed the lawn or some shit, and you need a cold drink.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
sure. I mean,
but hold on. So Brad, I've been in that situation many times, even over the past couple of months, because it is hot and I mow the lawn. And then when I'm drinking that cold drink, I'm like, relief. No, I'm like, fuck, I'm so fucking hot in this. I need something.
Yeah.
Versus generally when I'm cold and drinking a hot beverage, I'm like, ooh, this is nice,
comfy, cozy, right?
Also,
you're not just fucking miserable and trying to like make the heat go away.
Yeah.
Also, we live in Texas. Like 90% of the days out of the year are hot, so it's just like
Yeah.
drinking a cold beverage on any day is
All
pretty much
right,
like
look, you're in the shade, maybe under a
Mhm.
nice umbrella in your backyard or whatever, and nice
don't
tall
think-
glass of lemonade, ice cold lemonade.
I mean, that's lovely, Brad. I don't think
There's
anyone's
a nice
denying.
breeze. There's
I
a
don't
nice
think anyone
breeze.
is denying that is like a lovely, wonderful sensation. It's just that like, it's not as much of a thing as
Get under a
like a.
blanket if you're cold.
Okay. Okay. I never
well,
get cold, Brad. That's the problem. Is when
I
I
drink
do
coffee
finally
every
feel
day.
cold,
Hot
I'm
drinks
like,
aren't shit.
yes, I'm gonna drink warm, like a hot chocolate or like a fucking like a nice cup of tea or something. Like,
I think all you fuckers are wrong. I prefer a hot drink on a hot day.
I drink coffee every day though.
yeah,
I
you
mean,
gotta normalize.
hot drinks aren't
Just like
that exciting.
I like sitting in the middle of my backyard, not in the shade, and just sipping on a mug of coffee
always
Given
makes
his
me
wonder.
balls and a mug of coffee.
until I'm sweating it out of my pores.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for the questions, guys. We'll get to some more next week.
Absolutely. And with that, it is time to wrap up the show with the 4-player minute. So hype, sweat, fuck you, thank you, any comment of. Brad, you'd like to start us off, so let's hear it.
Sure. My hype is, I guess I have a couple hypes. Monster Train finally got its Switch port along with some other games. There was an Indie World, Nintendo Indie World thing the other day, and they announced a lot of cool games that I've been waiting to come to Switch, like Loop Hero and Monster Train, and games that I only had on PC, but I never really played much because I'm not sitting in front of my PC. And I'm excited about these. Good timing on a couple of them actually. Um, my I guess my fuck you though is all of these indies. I feel like it's been crazy, but like I feel like the past few months has been especially crazy. I follow this like channel on YouTube which talks about like every indie game worth mentioning, like every week. Like every week he does a video of like here's 15 indie games coming out this week and they all look pretty cool. And that, you know what? Fuck that channel. Fuck those videos. It's like a curse knowing that there's all this cool shit that you don't have aren't gonna have time to play is like it sucks. I don't like it. It makes me sad. My sweat is that it was a pretty good sale. I've seen it before, but I finally pulled the trigger on Monster Hunter GU Generations Ultimate on Switch. That's a sweat. I really should not get into that. That's like it's like a Monster Hunter game with like 1,000% more content than other Monster Hunter games. So I don't want to get into that. That would be bad. That would not be good. I don't really have time for that. And my fuck you goes to me. I don't remember why, but it is a fuck me. I don't know why. Why is it a fuck me?
Any
I
I
agree.
probably
Fuck
deserve
Brad.
it. I probably deserve it. And one last final hype is I think next week a Tales of Arise demo comes out. I hope it's a progress carries over demo, but I don't think so. I think it's just I think when they want to show off the game, they want to show off, with you having like a full party of characters, which doesn't happen right at the start of one of those games. But
Mhm.
I'm excited because it's a game I'm very excited to play. Yeah. So that's
Cool.
that.
All right, why don't we do Chris Davis next?
Oh, okay. All right. My hype this week is for the technical test for Battlefield 2042. I got an invite, and one of the play sessions for me is this Saturday. But because it'll be heavily NDA oriented, I can't talk about it next week. So sorry. My sweat. Ava 4.0 comes out tomorrow, and I've always been a huge Evangelion fan. And I've been waiting on this movie for 12 years, 13 years, basically at this point. So I haven't read anything about it. I haven't seen anything about it. I just want to go into that movie fresh, and I just want to see what happens. I want to see what Anno can create. So, my thank you goes to Ninja Theory. I didn't talk about it in earlier in the show, but so Ninja Theory put out a patch on Xbox for Hellblade this past week, and I had nothing else to play, and I had Hellblade on my shelf, so I said, "Fuck it, why not?" And I played through Hellblade. I'd never done it before, and that game is
Thunder with
pretty good.
Sacrifice?
Yeah,
Shit, man.
that
A
was
little late to the
pretty good.
party, but it's a good game.
And it was really cool to see it in 4K 60, and no HUD going on, and just listening to it with my surround sound system. It was great.
Surround sound system.
Yeah,
Just play that game with headphones.
I mean,
Yeah.
It does do the surround sound headphones.
You
thing
get that
pretty
like
good.
no, I'm sure it does,
whispery,
but it sounded really cool on my
I
system.
think you want to get the ASMR vibe with that game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's fair.
absolutely.
Maybe for the next game, I'll do that. So Ninja Theory is working on 2 games, actually, aren't they? They're doing Hellblade 2, and they're doing Project Mira, I think.
Yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
weird horror experience. I don't know if it's how much of a game it is.
No
but
idea
yeah.
what that is, but I want to know what that is based on this. And my fucky this week is an obvious one, going to Activision. Just everything going on with the Blizzard. Evidently the director for Diablo 4, one of the lead designers for it, and I think one of the writers
Out of there.
got canned this week. For that to happen to begin with, like, it was just fucking stupid.
It's
fucking
fucking stupid,
stupid.
but we need to see more of that shit. Get those.
Get them out, yeah.
out.
But then there
Need
was
to make
another
up.
report this week about the work schedules and work experience of the QA teams at Activision. How they're working at least 50 hours a week, usually about 70 sometimes, to support, evaluate games and stuff like that. And it's just fuck them for that. That's fucking extortion, man. I don't know. So, yeah, that's me.
All right,
They
Nolan,
buy
you're
them
next.
pizza, Chris Davis. Okay.
Oh, yeah, they
It's all
feed them
better.
so they can stay in the office longer.
Pizza
All right.
fixes everything.
My 4-player minute source now. I got 3 hypes and a thank you. My first hype is for Frostpunk 2. Got announced today. Pretty fucking excited about that. I really liked the first Frostpunk. Was my game of year in 2018. So I'm very excited for this one. Less coal and more oil. So that's going to be interesting. My hype, the second one is going to go for the Green Knight. I don't have plans to go see it right now, but everything I've heard, Brad saying it's good. Everything I've read online, apparently it's super good. I feel like I want to see that movie so bad.
I do. It feels crazy to say this, but I do think it should be viewed in a theater. You're probably not gonna get that opportunity.
Thankfully I do have a 120-inch projection screen, so it's pretty close to a theater with surround sound. It's not. Don't get me wrong. Yes, it is nowhere near as nice as a theater, but it is better than watching it on just like a 40-inch LED or something like that.
I'm gonna wait until I can watch it on my phone.
Just like
Way
Martin
to be a rebel.
Scorsese intended.
Just like
Watch it on my
David Lynch
3DS.
loves it.
My third hype is actually going to go to some. It was not announced in this Nintendo indie direct or whatever. It's been around for a while, but it was kind of re-announced. Eastward. It's a little game, kind of action RPG, very cool art style. Pretty excited for that one. I've been following that one for a while, and that one's getting closer to coming out.
What is the indie game that everyone calls like this weird like Harry Potter?
Witchbrook?
Witchbrook.
Did that game ever come out or?
Not
No.
yet.
There's
it's
2 of those. There's Witchbrook, and then there's another developer doing something else.
Of course there is.
Okay. Well, Nick was talking about Witchbrook. And then my thank you is going to go to Ghost Town Games. They are the ones who do Overcooked. Just for that random drop of an expansion content that was very out of nowhere and nice that it's obviously free to anybody who have all you can eat. And so it was very nice to play that out of the blue.
Cool. All right.
I feel like you would not want to eat all you can of overcooked food, but maybe that's just me.
I think it's just called Overcooked because you can overcook it, but you don't want to. It would be weird to call a game perfectly
Undercooked
cooked.
or undercooked.
Half baked.
Ooh.
All right, crispy.
Yeah,
you're
I don't
up.
want to eat anything half baked either.
All right, my hype this week is just kind of like for movies in general, like between The Green Knight coming out, Dune's coming up really soon. Both of those movies have a lot of hype. Like a lot of the early reviews for Dune have been really good. Suicide Squad was fucking dope. Fucking Evangelion comes out tomorrow. And
Has
like
anybody seen
Phil
Pig?
Tippett's The Mad God. Like just saw the trailer for that last week and it looks crazy as
Free
shit.
Guy is certified fresh.
Free Guy. Like yeah, I can't wait to watch the new Ryan Reynolds movie. No, but
I like Ryan Reynolds.
It's
it's
certified
fine.
fresh.
He's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But it's yeah, it's fine. Um yeah, movies. It's
I'm
like
looking forward to. I'm
it's like
especially excited for that demonic.
I like a lot of stuff that should have come out last year that we were excited about in 2019 is like finally they're just kind of like whatever, we got to put it out. So that's kind of fun and horrifying because of the pandemic, but
Has
whatever.
anybody seen Pig with Nicolas Cage? I hear
I
it's
want
great.
to.
Wait,
I heard it's wild.
so yeah, I started watching it, but we did not get a chance to finish it.
Um, just fucking nuts. My my sweat is that I am exactly three quests away from finishing all of the main story quests in Final Fantasy 14. So
Wow.
once I finish those three quests, I gotta like wait for the next update or wait for the next expansion
Like
to
a
continue the
normie.
story. Like yeah, like I'm up to date. You know, I lost my sprout like a month ago, and now I'm really finally like at the end of the road, and it's like I almost don't want to do those quests. You know, it's like I'm having this moment of like, oh my god. Not like I don't have a shit ton of other stuff to do in the game, but like I don't know. It's surreal. It's wild. I'm finally at the end of the road. I didn't think I'd come this far. Um, my it's not really. I don't know. It's not fuck you, but it's more of just like kind of a bummer.
I remember
Um,
my fuck you. My
yeah,
fuck you was Final Fantasy 14 related. It's for
yeah,
myself.
okay.
Because I moved on from the free version and I started paying a sub, and then I just
Stop
don't
playing.
want to play, so I haven't been playing, and now I'm paying for it.
It's funny. I do still think there's a chance you would get into like Heaven's Word and Stormblood
I
and
know
then be like, "Oh
I'm
my
close.
god, this
I'm
is
close. I'm about
crazy!"
to
Like,
fight
"Oh,
Sheila
I
or
should have
something.
just done this." Yeah, oh my god, that's like the turning point. That's like okay, never mind. My so like I said, it's kind of a bummer. This one's not a fuck you. It's just like a fucking bummer. Um, Trevor Moore from Whitest
Oh
Kids You
yeah.
Know died.
Oh
And I
yeah.
was a huge Whitest Kids You Know fan, and like
Oh yeah.
I was watching all their news stuff that they were doing. Like they were doing their D&D and like that Whoretown fucking RPG, and they were like doing new material, and we're like gonna release a movie and stuff. And then he just like fucking all of a sudden passed away.
Yeah.
It was super tragic. Like I don't usually have celebrity deaths hit me that hard, but that one was really like, wow, what the fuck.
Yeah.
Um, damn. My hypes went. Thank you. I
Thank
don't know.
you.
I don't know if this is a thank you, but like it's not. But like I haven't been on the podcast for a few weeks, so I haven't had a chance to really talk about the whole Blizzard thing. Fucking insane, man. Just wild how fucked up that whole fucking situation is, and it's really sad, but also like I hope that this is the beginning of a positive change for that company, because it really sucks that like things like fucking Warcraft and Starcraft and Diablo, like these really like it's Blizzard, man. When like I was in high school, Blizzard was like
The cool one.
vaunted. Like yeah, it was just like could do no wrong. It's like if they say it's going to take 10 years to make a game, we will wait that 10 years and we will do it happily because we know that game is going to be incredible when it comes out, because every one of their games was like a formative experience for us at that point. So like watching the downfall of Blizzard has been kind of a real fucking kick in the dick. But at the same time, fuck those guys. Like, fuck that whole fucking company. Like, fuck everybody who allowed that to happen. And also, like, it's kind of a whole thing that, like, we're talking about Blizzard, but like, we got to remember that this is not uncommon or unusual or unique to Blizzard. Like, this is just kind of the fucking industry. And like, what the fuck is wrong with video games? Like, I would rather just not have video games than have all of this shit. Like, this is fucking terrible. It sucks. It just like, it sucks to feel like taking part in my hobby is enabling some really like evil shit, But
Yeah.
whatever. I'm glad those guys got fucking fired. I hope they do. Like, there's a big petition going around to rename Jesse McCree from Overwatch because Jesse McCree was named after a Blizzard developer named Jesse McCree. I hope they do that. I mean, I don't know. Like, Blizzard, like, Overwatch is probably dead now. Like it's I don't know. It's fucked.
It's gonna
up,
be
man.
it's also gonna be real awkward
Fuck.
just for the foreseeable future for any Activision Blizzard game that gets released while this is all
Yeah.
fucking happening. Like,
And I mean,
Diablo
it's
2
been
Remastered's about to come out.
Yeah, right? And like Diablo 4's like fucking director left. Like, what does like
I mean,
that's
this
I mean,
is
he was fired. He was fired
Yeah,
this
it
for
was
is
being.
fired.
very
Yeah, yeah.
reminiscent of what just happened with Ubisoft, and
Yeah,
I
but
guess,
not all, there
but I
wasn't a lot
didn't
of
care
account.
about Ubisoft.
But there wasn't
I
also a
didn't
ton of
like-
accountability being
Yeah,
we're at least
Ubisoft
seeing like some people that are pretty high up the chain and attached to some pretty big
Dude, and
projects
it's
just
not
being
it's not just like
let go. Yeah.
it's not just like stuff that was like ancient history. It's like the stuff that they're still doing now is like fucked up. Like they had that whole employee walkout, right? They had like that whole like demonstrated employee walkout. So then they were like offering those employees PTO to do the walkout because they want to fucking collect information on who was like going to the walkouts. They hired a fucking company they hired a consultant firm that is a notorious union busting consulting firm to help deal with all this shit. Like it is insane how much pushback they have to like being caught out in the open being like evil fucking dicks, but it doesn't matter because they're a fucking multi-million-dollar corporation and companies can just like do stuff when it doesn't fucking matter. Like,
it blows. Maybe I'm just. I mean, this is probably just me being super fucking naive. But it's just like, come on, why is being decent so fucking hard for so many people and so like why does being super rich suddenly mean you have to be? It turns you into a huge asshole. You would think it would just give you the freedom to make you be nicer to like people.
I
but,
just
like,
think a lot of the ways in which we've set up our society kind of encourages that. It's just yeah. There's. I
I'll
mean,
tell you
it's
this
not
much,
really
though.
like isolated phenomenon. This is just kind of like what. Yeah, I don't know.
The more you see this shit, like, I start feeling better about myself. It's like, oh, all these people are scumbags, and I'm like, I don't feel this way. I guess I'm a decent person. I guess
It
that's
really does
rare.
seem like insane, I guess, but like
I
it's
guess
like.
that's rare.
But like also it's like systems of power, like it's structures that put people above other people and say like, whatever. I don't know. I'm getting all fucking
That was your thank you for this week?
yeah, I guess. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Everything's like thank you. I don't know. I'm kind of oddly excited about the Halo whatever tests that are going on. Like
I mean, a lot of the talk that's been coming out of those Halo playtests and whatnot have been pretty positive. So
yes, and I used
They're
to love
saying the
Halo
bots are
multiplayer. and
surprisingly
it's like-
competent. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. I'd try it if I could get into one of those. Whatever. I don't know. I don't fucking care.
all right,
That's the end of my 4-player hour.
all right. My 4-player minute starts now. I've got 3 hypes and a sweat. I'm gonna start with my sweat. I got my GPU back. I got my 3070 back, and the blinking light is gone. But now I'm just like, I've caught myself like checking every few minutes to see if it's blinking again. And I don't like. I'm just like so paranoid, like that something's gonna happen because as you know, I have like the worst luck with PCs and PC components and whatnot. I feel a little vindicated though because they didn't fix my unit and send it back. They just replaced it. So it seems something must have been wrong with it, and it wasn't something. It seems like it was not something on my end. But again, also as an aside of that, again, thank you Nolan for coming over and helping me troubleshoot and whatnot. It sucks that it got to the point where I eventually had to send it in anyways. But luckily, I did it while I was out of town. So like I got it in the mail as we were leaving town, and by the time I was coming back, it was already in the mail or getting ready to ship back to me. So I was only really out. I didn't have access to my computer for one day basically, which is nice. My first hype, video games. I'm getting excited about video games, but specifically, I'm narrowing it down, Brad. When I close my eyes and I think about like video games, I find myself picturing a very strange, unexpected. Every time I close my eyes and be like, video games, I think Far Cry 6 for some reason. I don't know why that game keeps popping into my head, but for some reason, I keep catching myself thinking like, I think I'm really fucking excited for Far Cry 6. And I don't really know why. I mean, you know me, I've played a lot of Far Cry games. I do love those games.
I didn't hear.
Like,
did you say Far Cry 6 or Tales from the Borderlands? It was kind of confusing. I wasn't sure which one you were saying.
I hate you, Nolan.
Hey, Nick.
He's not wrong.
Off topic. Did you see Matt Damon on Hot Ones?
Yes.
Wait,
you mean a Hot Ones? No.
So he was asked a question about. He was asked about the Bourne game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's like, hey,
I saw that.
dude, what's up? Why weren't you in the Bourne game? It's like, and he was like, because I wanted puzzles and shit. I love Myst.
He didn't want it to be a first-person shooter, and they didn't. They said no, and they were like, all right, fuck Matt Damon.
Matt. Oh man,
I didn't know.
They threw out Matt Damon, the star of the movies that they were basing their game off of.
He wanted it to be more like Myst.
I mean, that's kind of a strange.
That's classy.
I mean, why?
It's probably like the last video game.
Puzzles?
Yeah, it's probably also like the last video game he played. So
I mean, I'm sure I'm sure he wasn't like implying he wanted it to be just like Myst, but I think he was trying to say, I just don't want it to be a mindless shooter.
Yeah.
And they were like, we want it to be a mindless shooter. So goodbye, Matt Damon.
That's all we have the budget for.
Yeah.
So Far Cry 6. I don't know why, but that's the one that's in my head right now. My second hype is for movies. Y'all mentioned. I mean, I'm gonna watch the Suicide Squad this weekend.
Nick, sorry, this is slightly off topic. Did you see Elijah Wood on Hot Ones?
I saw that one today. It was really good.
So one of the questions they asked him is like, "Hey, you live in Austin, and I know you're like a foodie or whatever. If some people came into Austin, you had to treat them to breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What places would you go to?" He said El Primo for breakfast tacos, food truck. Mm-hmm. He said Via 313 for lunch, and for dinner, ramen Tatsuya.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he also mentioned. Didn't he mention another ramen place?
I don't remember.
But yeah, those were the three, and I was like, cool.
I've only been to one of those places.
I was surprised he didn't mention Tatsuya. There's a Tatsuya. Yeah, we've all been there together, so obviously that was the one he was talking about.
There's a Via 313 opening up in Round Rock.
I was surprised he didn't mention there's like a Chinese dim sum place. I don't even know if they're still open, obviously, with everything that's been going on. But I saw him there once. And the owner was like, "Oh yeah, you noticed Elijah Wood?" He's like, he comes here all the time, and apparently, he has a group of friends that go to that place all the time. And I was like, "Really? I like this place too." But it was funny. He's very short.
Yeah,
almost like a hobbit. Some would say
they cast him to play a hobbit.
So sorry.
Hey Nick, did you see Idris Elba on Hot Ones?
Fuck off, Brad.
Remember where he's like, I saw someone draw Knuckles like doing that. Man, he's gonna be playing Knuckles in the new Sonic movie, and people are so excited, but they're already getting gross with it.
Yeah,
Nick, what animal is Knuckles?
An echidna.
You're not Nick, Crispy.
Oh.
I asked Nick on purpose.
I didn't hear you say Nick. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
All right. Can I finish my 4-player minute?
No.
Movies, man, movies. I'm particularly excited about The Green Knight for one. Demonic is coming out this month as well.
Yeah,
which
I
is-
can't wait for Nick to give the Green Knight a 3 on his fucking
Oh
letterbox.
my god, I see it coming. Dude. Nick, I don't even recommend the Green Knight. I don't even recommend it to you.
Nick's gonna be like, the Green Knight made me feel blue. 3 stars.
You should read the
Y'all
He'd
act
poem.
do it
Y'all
too.
act like 3 stars is a bad score. But also another movie I'm excited about, Lamb. Have y'all seen the trailer for Lamb?
Yeah.
It looks like, yeah, dude. That movie looks fucked up. That's gonna be some fucked up shit. I can already tell. I'm ready for it. And it's another A24. It's like the studio behind like Hereditary and Midsummer, and it very much has kind of that like.
Oh, I thought it was a studio that did Raw, but okay.
A horror movie role?
Yeah, the horror movie
It could
Raw.
be. I've never seen Raw.
Cannibal?
A24's the
Chick where
distributor.
chick starts.
All I know
Yeah.
is I'm very excited for that, and I'm very excited for Demonic, and I'm very excited for the Green Knight. I still haven't seen Black Widow, but like I said, we're not going back to the movies at least for 2 weeks. At least.
Nick,
Maybe
did you
more.
see David Harbour on Hot Ones?
Fuck off, Brad. You were over on your phone on YouTube seeing who was on Hot Ones just so you could bring that up, weren't you?
No.
I know you, Brad. And my last hype this week is, of course, Dexter New Blood. Super fucking excited. But I listened to my first audiobook this week. I listened to the entirety of the 7th Dexter book, the first one that I have not actually read myself. Read it. I listened to it on the drive to and from Pennsylvania. Got through it. I'm reading the last one, or listening to the last one now. Audio cool. I've never done it before, but it's pretty cool. No, why are you making that face? I've never listened to an audiobook before. This is my first
There's
one.
Dexter books?
I'm watching the
I listen to
Lamb
audio
trailer.
cassette tapes, man. What do you mean you've never listened to an audiobook?
I've never listened to an audiobook before. But yes, Nolan, Dexter is based off of a series of books, but the show deviated from the books after the first book.
Nick,
Oh.
let me ask
The
you
first
something.
season of the show is based off of the first book.
It's not about Hot Ones. I have a question. Let's say you didn't have like, a conscience or let's say you were like, a sociopath or something. How hard do you think it would be to like pull off a Dexter in your current lifestyle?
Pull off a Dexter, as in
Yeah,
like,
do you think
kill
you
people?
could kill people?
Ask if he wants to jerk off Michael C. Hall.
Oh my god! I
Do
get
you
that
think?
joke.
Do
I
you
get it.
think your
So-
current lifestyle would let you pull off like being a Dexter?
No.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
It's
you
all-
don't think
Brad,
you
you
can get
do
away
realize
with
this
it?
is
Have you
you do realize this
never
is make
thought,
believe,
like,
right? And you are
like,
also like
I
trying
could
to
get away with
incriminate
this,
me.
maybe?
No,
No,
I'm
no.
not.
Incriminating anything. I'm just saying, do you ever think that
Dude.
maybe you could get away
No.
with it?
No, I do not think about that because
He
I
lives
wish I-
nowhere near a body of water to dump a body into.
Like Travis.
So no.
They find
Yeah,
bodies in
exactly.
Lake Travis all the time. What are you
Exactly. Yeah, Lake
That'd be the
Travis is not a
worst-
good body of water.
That'd be the worst place to dump a body.
It's too populous. No,
That's true too.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
Traveling
I
across
was watching a
country,
video
never
earlier
fucking
where
doing-
a serial killer called into the Howard Stern show and talked to him for 17 minutes about murdering prostitutes in New Orleans, and that was like in '96, and they never caught the guy.
Maybe he was just bullshitting.
Wait, yeah, do they know it was
Maybe.
That's still fucked up though.
I don't know. I don't know how. Like, maybe not, but it was kind of fun.
But
I mean, fun. But it was weird.
so yeah, I'm reading the last few books. The show comes out in less than 90 days now, which is pretty fucking exciting. I am 2 episodes away from finishing the rewatch with Robin because she's watching it for the first time, and I have restarted the show again because I'm trying to watch an episode a day. But I usually do it at work. Like I put it on in the background while whatever. But
You should watch them in fucking Discord.
I'm Crispy. I liked your idea. I might handpick a few episodes to do a movie party with. Obviously can't do it with every episode because that's 96 fucking episodes. But I can handpick like
do it.
10
Highlights,
episodes that I think
the
are
best.
like the best of the best.
You ever tried to handpick a few criminals that maybe got away with it, Nick?
I think this is a good time to wrap up the show. Guys, thank you so much for listening. 4playernetwork.com is, of course, the website. You can find all of our podcast episodes there. We record every Thursday night at 8 p.m. on Twitch. You can find us in Discord at discord.gg/4player. Come hang out. Come say hello. Introduce yourself in the introduction channel. We always love hearing from you. And, of course, if you're interested in supporting us financially, helping us keep the mics going and keeping us going, patreon.com/4player. We appreciate every penny we get. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, guys. We will catch you on the next episode. Good night.
Bye.
Good night.